Good morning, everyone. How is
Good
everyone
morning.
doing? We can see a
Yeah.
lot of people
Yeah.
joining in, so we appreciate everyone spending their Saturday with us. I know you have a lot of things to do every Saturday, but you spend your time with us. This is really humbling, and we want to ensure that we give you the best return on the time you're investing. And that's why we keep on inviting multiple personalities who could help you with your career journey, maybe just some life coaching, and maybe some advice from their wise journey they have so far. So, in the same series, we would continue with having one more guest speaker. But before we start, give me one detail about what are your plan for next this weekend? What you are planning to do on Sunday? For me, I have a dish which I wanted to cook for a long time, so I'm going to prepare it. It's an Indian dish from my place, which is called dal bati. Probably not many of you heard about it, but yeah, I'm
Oh,
planning
wow.
to cook that. What about others? What you are planning to cook there, or any other activity which you will eyeing for the Sunday to come and then you wanted to do it?
For me, it is the
Anyone?
same thing, Ashish. Uh,
I know.
it's like
I can
next.
guess your thing. I can guess your thing, Prasad.
It's pretty
Ye-
boring. No other option
no,
for me right now.
it is engaging. Means it takes effort to come out of your house in London weather and then run for a marathon or prepare for a marathon. It takes courage. I can't just brush it away like a one activity. It's a complicated activity, I would say. Thank you. Was my guess right?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's absolutely true. It's in the tapering phase, so it's a short run tomorrow. But yeah, that is it going to be. Uh,
Nice, good. All right, thank you. So we have a lot of people joining in and still tuning in. So let me add our guest for today. It is Sammy Chung. Let me add Sammy to stream. Hey, hi, Sammy.
Hi
Hello,
everyone.
Sammy.
You can hear me,
Good.
right? Good, good, good.
Yeah, we can hear you well, and we can see the flashing golden jacket too.
Yes, it's very shiny. That's why I forgot to put on my sunglasses again.
Nice. All right. So, people who do not know Sammy, I'll not like steal from his moment. Let him introduce him, and then we will ask some question and keep your questions coming into the chat so that we can pass to Sammy and let's make it interactive, not a one way. Sammy has a huge journey he has been through, and we will probably have a glimpses of what he has been through. So, over to you,
Mhm.
Sammy.
All right, thank you. So my name is Sammy Cheung. I'm a cloud evangelist and a global partner alliance manager for Evident One Cloud. I have been in IT for 30 years doing software development, mainly on databases. And about 10 years ago, I started my cloud journey. So now I'm an AWS ambassador, champion AWS instructor, and fully certified on AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. And
Wow.
non-IT related, perhaps someone may know I'm an ultra marathon runner as well as I'm a backyard mechanic. I like to fix my own vehicles.
Wow. Uh, that's awesome.
Yeah, means it's hard to put like one tag on it. Yeah, I could see like AWS ambassador, champion authorized instructor. Now, can you talk about ambassador program? Most of people know. What is
Okay.
this AWS authorized champion instructor, Sammy?
Okay, so maybe start with just do the reverse order. So after I get fully certified on AWS, I was invited. Do you want to teach what you know? That's when I become an authorized instructor. So authorized instructor will teach official AWS classes, represent AWS, and champion just mean that you're able to teach more advanced classes and 5 day classes as well as something more advanced. And being ambassador is different. You need to be an evangelist of AWS. You need to encourage and help people, and you have to be selected by AWS. So I think right now we have about 300 ambassadors worldwide, and so it's just a program to empower people, just like any ambassador.
That's awesome. So, like, uh, we'll get to where you are right now, but let's start from your background. Like,
Okay.
how were you as a kid? Like, how was your schooling, college? Like, did your
Oh,
friends think that you were studious, average, mischievous during your schooling? How was
oh,
your
yes.
journey?
When I talk about a journey, I have to see a long, long history. But just quick. I when I was 5 years old, I moved from China, mainland China, to Hong Kong. So people, if they don't familiar with them, we actually speak different dialects. So basically, I'm like moving to another country. And then make things interesting. I was studying in a very average school when grade two or elementary school, second year, and I go to a very good school. So on my third year of elementary school, I go to what they call band A school. That was horrible because when I was go to my first mathematics exams, I scored 4 out of 100. So I was thinking I must be dumb because I'm so poor. And back then it's horrible. When you are not passed, you actually get physical punishment. I had to hand my hand, and then my teacher going to slam my hand with a inch thick ruler. Good news is I don't even think that much. So instead of thinking I'm dumb, I just continue to learn. So when I was a kid, I'm not a good kid actually. I spend more time playing video game than studying textbooks because I do believe I have dyslexia. I don't understand the words at all, but I can play video game really well. So now I know why, because I'm a visual learner that I can learn 10 times faster by listening and watching and doing than reading a textbook. So that's my kid years, and not doing too well. But on my fifth year on elementary school, I was one of the top 10 students for the whole grade. So it's not the math is the problem, it's the training. That's one thing I want about the cloud journey. If you are like not doing well, instructor like me is the problem, not you. Just keep them in mind. Everyone had the potential, but had to learn that way. So that's my like kid years.
Hmm. And when you
Nice.
say you were very like enthusiastic with the video games and stuff, so like what was your first interaction with IT, cloud computing, or in general computers technology?
Yeah, that is another interesting. I was want to be learning electronic and double E as my major. But long story short is I cannot transfer the grade, so I say why not learn computer? I like play video game. Oh, playing video game and learn that is different. So when after I graduate from computer science, my first job is actually doing C and assembly programming. And the reason is I want to stay away from people. I just want to close to the computer, and I love the job. I don't have to answer phone call. I don't have to meet people. And 30 years later, now I'm an evangelist. I'm going to meet people and talk about computer, talk about what computer can solve your business problem. So another thing, your cloud journey may be different than your previous career. That's totally fine. Don't afraid of it.
Nice. I want to ask one question, Sammy. You are based in US now, right?
Yes.
And so what time it is? Like, I think it is too early for you to wake up here.
Not too early, three in the morning. And
Oh.
I like to tell this when I was doing 24/7 on call. This is a golden time to do deployment. So I get used to get up 3 in the morning. But do
Oh,
I want
nice.
that as my career? No. Schedule a lambda job to the auto deployment system manager. To go to sleep.
Nice. Thank you. Thank you for being here on that particular means. For me, 3 o'clock will be if somebody wakes me up, means probably they would see a different side of me. And talking about how your migration happened from Hong Kong to US, how that period was.
This is my second journey. So one of the reason I think for me to learn a problem in Hong Kong is my family speak Mandarin. I speak Cantonese, which is different dialect in Hong Kong, and then the classes all in English. So every day my head is three different languages. So that's horrible. When I come to United States to study in college, at least only one language is English, so it's easier. But still too difficult. So I come to United States, want to like mention that I want to be an engineer, like behind the scene and do that. And that was actually not the best use of my skill. Now I find out because I do have one side can be like present the technical knowledge to someone in a funny way. So people remember the stories, then remember the knowledge, hopefully can apply to solve a business problem. And that was like back in '89. I came to United States. Have been in here like 33 years already.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Nice. So when Sammy decided to interact with cloud, what was the first interaction, and you were like blown away or confused? How was the reaction of first cloud interaction?
Oh, that I could say I was on the database development for like 3 decades. So cloud is totally new to me, especially cloud. They like to using 3 letters, 4 letters where no one understand what the heck is it. EC2, S3, SQS. Now it's piece of cake. I can explain it and how to solve your business problem. But back then it's confusing, and that's why I have passion to help newcomers or people like me back then have a strong IT background to overcome the fear of cloud computing because it's actually interesting. So, and like I mentioned, one of the things make me get into the cloud computing is when I joined one company in 2018, not 18, 16. There's two parallel universe. One is called a cloud team, the other called a non-cloud team or a
Hmm.
legacy team. The cloud team make more money than the non-cloud team, even though the non-cloud team engineer had like 10 years experience. I say something's not right, and I will raise my hand. Which team I belong to? Guess what? I belong to the non-cloud team. So I can see a college grad make more money than I do. I say something's not right. All right, I want to learn, and no one can help me. Do you know EC2? What are you talking about? No, you are not ready. Huh? Okay. So that's another thing I have passion about the cloud. Uh, it's actually the same thing. You just have some different wording. Actually, it's easier to learn. That's the key word. Learning cloud computing is easier than learn traditional IT. For those go through that experience, they will know. So, and I would say, hey, now cloud is so great. How can I start? And I did not start. That's why today I want to tell you, do not be me. Be the one you say, I want to learn cloud today. I want to start it today. And my moving to this is because my employer needs someone to be certified. And I say, let's hire one. Cannot find one. Deadline is coming. All right, let me try it. After I try it, force myself to study. It's not that hard. It's fun. And then I say, why not try another one? Why not try another one? That's how I fully certify in a year because I just excited to learn more and more and apply that. That's two: learn and apply, and then you retain the knowledge.
Get your
You
point.
make it sound very easy, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. I was saying that you make it like it is so
Yeah,
easy.
we can get to the difficult part, but this is one of the trick I do to my mind is I when you run marathon, Prasad, you know that. Oh, sounds easy. Just one step at a time. Yes, it's one step at a time, but your mind had tell you why are you doing it? Stop. That mind is to protect you, but that mind is also stop you from getting to the next step of your career or your health journey or anything. Because it's easy to stay in your comfort zone, like I mentioned when I start. Stay in the room, doing assembly programmer, not talk to people. Can I be my whole life like that? Sure. But what if I start talking with people? What if I take the study AWS a solution, a partitioner, cloud partitioner? What if I study another thing? Then the other what if is like, why you do that? What if you stop is better? So you have to kill those negative thoughts. Focus on the positive. That's one way that you it's easy once you kill all those negative thoughts, once you kill all those like things stop you from going to be great. And like I don't know all the audience here, but I know all of you have more potential than you have right now. I can say that for sure.
yeah, it is always so. Like we are our own, kind of not enemies, but our own biggest, like blockers. Like our mind is, we need to get out of that. So you said in 2016 you joined that company, and then like it was your motivation to see that you should be learning cloud, and like in 12, like you said, in a year you got all the certifications.
Hmm.
So talk about that year, like how,
That yeah, sure,
yeah,
sure.
like
So
difficult, or to manage the getting the certification, applying in the job, personal life. How did you manage all of that?
yeah, so when I first started these days, it's actually someone recommend me to take the solution architect associate. If I recommend others, do not start with that one. Even you are seasoned engineer, start with the cloud practitioner, build a foundation, go up that way. So when I start the first one, I got excited, all the technology, but then now you have to retain the memory, and I do have a hands-on, but not the hands-on to the level that I can memorize all the services. So the first one is always the hardest because is new to you. So if you are taking the exam, the first one is difficult, expect that. The next one will be easier, but not easy. So then I say, I learn, fill the gap. So I get the second one I did is the solution architect. No, the second one is developer
SysOps developer.
developer
Okay.
first because I'm
Developer.
a developer. So even though it's not cloud developer, but I'm a database developer, right? C, so it's easier. So I just learned how to do debugging. Nice. That one is actually pretty easy. I think I only spent like a week to prepare for that one. The first one probably had 3 weeks, and then after I finish it, I say, hey, this thing is easy. Let me do every month. And also, that's a one bonus for people who don't know. If your organization is belong to AWS partner network, your organization get credit. Like if you clear associate get like $300 credit. If you clear the professional get 500. So now I incentive to tell my boss I help company to save money, and also can boast about that I cleared. So then I just do it every month, and then on the third month I say, should I try again? I have an overseas trip. I return. I say I only have 1 week left. I don't think I can do it. But on the other hand, why not? So remember, the why not is your biggest friend, biggest motivation and your biggest fan. Do not kill the why not in your heart. So I think I only study it for 4 days and I cleared it. That's when my ego start to going up. My arrogance is going up too. It's not that easy. Then the next one is security. That's getting tougher. 1 month. Then the fifth one is the story I want to tell everyone here. You will hit a roadblock. Some of them is difficult. Some of them you are dumb. That one is both. I was doing networking first. So after security, I was doing networking. I know other than the like IPv4, I don't know anything else. Not that bad, but you get the point. And I'm lost. 2 weeks into the study on the advanced networking, I'm lost. So if some of you study and lost, so be it. I lost many times, but I still want to going to get a cert. So I'm going to pick one. Hey, I do the sysop, I do the developer, I got an associate. Maybe I should do DevOps professional with 2 weeks of preparation time. And remember, I am not do day in day out CI/CD. That's not my role. So I'm overly eager, being dumb, study until 4 o'clock in the morning and take the exam 8 in the morning with only 3 hours sleep. Actually, really good exam because I can sleep in during the exam. I probably fall asleep twice during the exam and I did not clear that. And then I say, that's it. I'm not going to study anymore. And hopefully you guys don't run into this kind of moment. But if it happen, regroup, rest, and reset. So I idle for like 3-4 months, and I'm thinking,
This is Sammy. Like, this is a cricket fan who is
okay,
speaking of comparing you with one of the legend in cricket, which is Sachin Tendulkar, Indian player.
oh,
So he was like we used to call him Master Blaster. He was like 16 years of age, and then he played against the legends of the cricket and scored hundreds and hundreds of runs. So he's still the top notch when it comes to the standards of cricket. So people are comparing to
I
you
see.
with
Thank
that.
you.
I like that.
Thank you. So that I like that story because that story is a good reminder that we hit the roadblock or where we hit something, you can just throw the towel and say that's it. And I'm actually that summer I almost give up my whole journey, but then just Amazon actually called me. Hey, do you want to have an interview with AWS? I say sure. Who don't want to do it? No, I think I need to study since I'm strong with data. So I take the big data and big data. So that's how I jumpstart or restart my cloud journey. And because once I restart, the joy come back. Oh, this is data. I know data. This is big data. So that suddenly give me energy. So I resume that, and then I'm going to kick up the rest. Pretty much the same thing. Yeah, every single month I clear that, and that time my motivation is different. I will study and take the exam when I'm ready. Instead, I'm set to go to take the exam no matter what. That's the wrong way. Prasad, you run marathon, you know that. Your
Yeah.
goal is going to hit the goal. It's not say I have to hit exactly 10 minutes, hit the mark. Sometimes not work that way. If you don't hit it, just give up. You won't finish the race. So after that, I start to learn that learning is my passion. Getting cert, getting clear the exam is secondary. And once I start have that mindset, I just continue. That's one of the reasons why I'm still taking cert and doing that. And it's actually pretty good for all of us. Have the mindset to learn, like breathing. Just keep learning. And if you're able to clear the exam, clear it. But do not miss the chance to clear the exam by keep waiting. That's another mistake I see people. Bad joke, but it's a real joke. If you study for 4 months, you should be ready to take the exam. If you wait another 4 months, guess what? You have 4 months new material to catch up. So after you catch up, you are 4 months behind. So you keep
Yeah.
forever catch up. No, don't do that. When you are somewhat ready to go, I never have any exam other than the partition now. Most exam when I sit, I'm still thinking I may fail the exam. But why not take the exam? If I clear and move on, continue. But if I have that fear there of failure, just like anything in life, you most likely will take the easy path. Don't try it. Then you never able to get the joy of being successful.
Get
Hey,
your
you,
point.
yeah. And you talked about learning, right? So, like, are there any specific learning resources, training, or communities that have helped you?
Yes, I have been using a cloud guru since 2018. One of the reasons why I'm using a cloud guru back then, that's one of the best. Now we have more kind of like studying resources, and to be honest, so many that you can almost randomly pick two, three of them. You're already in good hand. But what I want to say, from my experience, is like do not listen to me or anyone say what is the best resource. Find out your learning style. Like in my case, I'm visual learner. I easily get bored. So if I watching some presentation is monotone, continue, very informational, I won't last more than 5 minutes. So that's the one. Another one is learning don't have to be linear in speed. What I mean is like if I watch a video, you talk about a topic, I understand or already have background, I'm actually hit the speed up. Sometimes I watch the video in 4 times, sometimes even 16 times. I'm not going to jump because jump you're going to miss the content, but I'm not going to listen. Just look at the graph. So that way, 10 hours training may be shortened to only 4 hours for me. But I get all the new information I need. And another thing is unlike in like a instructor had to teach a class the whole class, so the pace has to be make suitable for the whole class. If you are have language barrier, for example English is not your first language, slow down, perfectly fine. But if that language is good or that topic is you're familiar with, speed up, don't waste your time. Reason, my head, probably your head is the same thing, it's like a video recorder. You see the information recorded, and if only one piece of information is important, if you put that kind of whole thing, you're going to spend like 10 minutes. Only 1 minute's content is important. Why not you make this whole thing and then slow down? Then you only spend 2 minutes. The whole content important to you or new information is in your head, but you don't have to spend 10 minutes. That's another trick I say is how to learn fast. The last one I have is some people may do that. I'm visual learner. I'm also listening. I'm looking at the script. So when I do the training, I will look at the content presenting, listen to the instructor, look at the transcript, and so that I learn 3 times faster in my case. The good news is online. You can go back to watch anything you forgot, and that's one. But if you are like want to cost conscious, do the AWS Skill Builder, which is free, and YouTube. There's many good resources. Uh, do not say that you do not have the resources. This is not 2015.
Exactly.
No excuse. Or just do the BSA channel. That's so much you can learn. But do structure. If you do not have structure, you will lose the whole track. That's why I say pick one training resource, watch it quickly, just go through the whole thing. It's better than you go random resource on YouTube because you will have gaps. The biggest problem is you have gaps. When you don't have gaps, you can build up on that foundation and add new knowledge.
Yeah.
Get your point. Now, I'm picking up some audience question here about like how to become an authorized instructor. So we would have a session on that. Sammy is one of them. I am also one of them. So we can have like a separate track which can be talking more on instructor. And I have someone in mind who is running this program in AWS. So I would bring that person. he would talk about all the nitty gritties of it. So I see a lot of interest about being an instructor. So we will figure out a way for you to talk about this. So we just park discussion for now, but
Mhm.
we are working on getting someone from the program itself who can help you in understanding the nitty gritty details of it. So we will talk about it. Just wanted to address it. Thank you.
Thank you. So, am I going to answer the question on the second
The
attempt? Oh,
yes, this one.
plenty,
Yeah.
plenty, and surprisingly, it's not AWS exam. I have one Microsoft exam is considered associate level. I had to take that exam 5 times to clear it. And the Microsoft Azure requirement is each year you can only take 5 times. So the fifth time I have to clear it. And to my defense is that exam is very hands-on, even though it's multiple choice. But they ask you a lot like step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. I say those kind of exam you need to be very hands-on. But the concept
Hmm.
I know. I already know what they go how they go to solve the business problem, what are the components, but I just cannot memorize like 5, 10 different steps for like 10, 20 different procedures. I cannot memorize it. So finally I got it clear. But for more like concept or more like understand how to solve business problem on AWS, I have two two unsuccessful, I should say three. Solution architect professional as well as a DevOps professional. That's the only two. When I do the first 12x certified, I'm unable to clear it. The second one I unable to clear it is when I renew my AWS advanced networking. That one I failed the exam, but that one I had my excuse. I was actually vacation in New Orleans. I have to drive from New Orleans back to Austin in order to sit the exam on the last day of the beta exam. So I'm only a few points short. I think it's 730. And I take the exam again. 2 weeks later, I cleared it. So preparation is important. Do not be dumb that I think you can just randomly, and it's also sometimes it costs lots of money. Do not waste your time, but you never able to 100% sure. So yes, I failed many exams, and failure is part of my learning journey. Probably yours too.
Interesting. Now, one question I have, like, means it's very simple but complicated. So it is why and how. How you answered that, how you just went through the certification, but why 70 certification? Why not stop somewhere? Hey, I've done enough. Or
No,
why multiple clouds?
before
Yeah.
that, before
Yes.
when did you think that you should be going multi-cloud? Like,
Yeah.
It's this also is an opportunity, and also like I would say that a bad incident give me an opportunity to grow, because after I fully certified, actually this is kind of funny but a real story. The day I got my Alexa certified, become a 12x certified, my boss tell me that I will no longer with that company because of pandemic. A business is not doing well, and is I say, oh, so my reward for being 12x certified is now I no longer to have a job. So after that, I start looking job hunting, and because the beginning of a pandemic in 2020, people don't know what's going on. So the recruiter say, "Do you know Google?" I say, "I don't, but I can study it since I'm have nothing to do." So I just study Google, and that's how I start my Google track. And Google track is the track that I do not have sponsor. The whole exam I pay for myself. Does it worth it? The cost I don't want to pay. I not say worth it or not, but the experience that paying the, for an exam with you as a sponsor still worth for your career in most cases. Because if your boss don't sponsor your AWS exam, you say I'm not going to learn AWS, that's a bad decision. Because that exam, if you get some discount and coupon, only cost you maybe 150 for the advanced one. You're going to get that 150 back when you have a new job. So do not say, oh, that's very expensive. Think your career, think your potential, but you don't have to that all of them, not 70. That unless it's all free. So that's
Yeah,
number one. Why I go multi-cloud?
I get your point. Means, doesn't it feel question you about certification when you had 12 certification and you had to let go from a job?
I miss it. Let
Yeah,
go.
I'll repeat that. So you were 12x certified in AWS,
Mm,
doing well in your job, and suddenly you were asked to leave the job and go job hunting. So
mm.
didn't you question the value of certification
Oh,
or why I am doing it?
That is actually good question. I was thinking about that. I think that hey, I have all the cert. I should be able to get a job. Just close my eyes, and then now I know that it's not, because that's another thing is important for all the audience here. The number of cert and whether you are qualified and whether you have a job are all non-related. Keyword non-related. You can be fully certified, you're not qualified. You can be qualified without any cert. You can be qualified with all the cert. Opportunity is not there. Like when I in the pandemic, the most common answer I got from the hiring managers: "We want to hire you, but we don't know what to do," because that's in May. June is the top of the pandemic in United States. It's like they don't even know they have a job or not because business are doing well. But on the other hand, if it's not that situation, if you qualify, if you have certificate to prove your skill set, opportunity come, you will get a job. So that's another thing people all ask all the time. Should I get this cert or get not that cert? I say cert is that demonstrate the skill of the person behind the cert. Like this cert is me. I can give you this cert doesn't mean you're able to do 12x. And you can do 12x, you don't need a cert. So you need to have the ability to understand your self-worth. Not your boss tell you, not the recruiter tell you. But at the same time, equip yourself with more potential power, kind of like I charge my battery. So that's also a good experience to share with other people. They are difficult time, but difficult time is a time for you to grow. That's why that time I go to study Google. That's the time when touch base a little bit and they say, do you want to be an instructor? Since you're 12x AWS, we probably can make you become an AWS instructor. So I say, sure, since I have nothing else to do. And then finally I find out I enjoy teaching people, empowering others. If without that incident, I won't even try the AAI program. Without that, I won't even try to like even have an interview with you guys. So basically, that is an opportunity for me to grow and send for all of you.
Yeah, sometimes blessing in disguise kind of a stuff. Yeah, we sometimes are looking so badly about the things or thinking like why me, and then we lose the opportunity which I could have taken. So yeah, life gives you surprises
Mm.
and be receptive. I would say that. Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Sammy.
There is one question, mainly on learning, and like Sammy, you learn a lot, so like have a go at it. Learning is great, but how to make sure you memorize everything? Like, do you memorize, or how do you go ahead and do that?
Yeah, I won't say I have photographic memory. I'm actually say that I have very poor memory. You may think, wow, you're able to memorize everything. I say no, I don't. That's why I like, for example, I create a short video about how to memorize the six pillar of AWS well architecture framework. I have to create a story to help me to remember the content. That's the way how I do. Same thing if I'm going to tell like a concept during the AAI class, architecture on AWS. I read the PowerPoint. It's great PowerPoint. Don't get me wrong. The student, because I'm a student too, I say, you don't get it. Let me tell you a story. This is how I do this project, how my customer do it wrong, and what's the result is. This is how I do it right. So when I finish, you remember the story, then you remember the content, then you remember the application. So instead memorize, which is very rigid, like memorize hard fact. But when you make it as a story, you not only able to memorize the fact, and you also improve your creativity and also improve your ability to present an idea. And if you're going to have an interview, the interview you just tell the facts is not good enough. When you tell a story, star format is a story. That's a situation, the task, the action, and the result. So, but you're actually telling a story. That's basically make you retain memory and also help you to eliminate not important stories side of the story. A man is walking to the street. He's wearing in red color and have a blue jean. Those are not important. Cross it out. A man is walking on the street. A car is coming. He jump and actually avoid the accident. But if you start telling all those extra detail, you remember I'm saying you lose the main concept of why this business or this service is trying to resolve the business problem. Once you have that business problem resolved on AWS, if you have to talk to a customer or another provider, the story did not change, just the name of the provider changed or the name of the service. Suddenly you become like, oh, I know everything. No, I know how to solve your business problem. And this is what a service I recommend.
That's
Great.
and good advice actually. We
Yeah,
obviously will not be
exactly.
able to memorize everything, and in case if you do not have the opportunity currently to work with customers, hands-on is the way to go. Try and open the console and keep doing hands-on, and once you probably view it, you will be able to like it registers in your mind. I remember in one of the certification there was a question about KMS, and I specifically remember that okay, on the console this option was available and this option was not available, so I was able to easily strike out. So otherwise, just watching the video or reading the books, I would not have remembered that at all.
No.
Yeah,
So
that's nice. Prasad mentioned something is nice. You do not have to remember all the detail. You remember that is an option. In real world, you can do search a document. In the exam, the way they do is eliminate bad answer, which is actually very important. Let me share why. When I engage with the customer on the real project, they have many ideas. The best way to do is eliminate the worst idea first. So by the time you finish eliminate the bad idea, you probably down to one or two good enough idea, and then you implement the idea and see how it goes. So the skills of eliminate bad choices or choices is like it's not supported is a very important skills. So seeking the right answer is one way. Much better way is eliminate all the wrong answer. In real world, there is not perfect answer. You always have good enough answer and horrible answers. And also defense or not defense support fact why that is a bad answer. Like using S3 as a data store for your database is a bad answer. Why? You have to explain that way. That's why by eliminate bad answer on the certificate, have a very good value in the real life when you become a more like customer facing role.
yeah,
Get your point. Nice. And I want to ask about one question here, like maybe what is how do you build your network? Because in job hunting or getting career advice, networking is really important thing. So how you go about building your network?
Okay, that's good. Um, Let's actually go back a little bit. Before I start my cloud journey, I was a database professional. I only go to the database meetup, hang out with DBA, and I do not talk to certain people like the business people. I don't know their language. But then I start to figure out that as I grow my life or my profession, I had to interact with people. QA, quality assurance, interact with them, business stakeholder. So instead of like thinking they are like alien, thinking they are your friends. So number one, interact with people that you are close that not your department, and then they will introduce you. They will find out you are, for example, you are a Java developer. They may ask you a question. Then you start to build up your network, and the network build much faster when you have different kind of people because that actually
Hmm.
build faster. The second part is the network building is going to know the person, but more important is what is the business pain point they are facing or their clients facing. And those story, if you can think about it, you can help you to become even a developer because now you understand why the business manager asks you to build certain way you think it doesn't make sense because the customer asked for it. The customer is the one pay you. So don't argue with your business manager who actually get a contract for you to get paid. But then you can say maybe you can tell the customer I can do this way which can actually save them money. The salesperson doesn't know, the customer doesn't know, you know. So then now you not only become the technical person to implement the solution, you become the solution architect. That's one BASA. And then if you say, hey, I'm ready to be more than developer, I want to be a solution architect, and I have already engaged with enough people, and just expand your network. That's number one. And number two is when you expand the network, just do random calling or random paying people because my understanding is the cloud people very friendly. They love to empower you and want you to be successful. Don't be shy. At the same time, they don't answer you. Not necessarily mean they don't like you. Just they can be busy. So just keep making connections. Like I like random people paying me. Sometimes I answer their questions. Sometimes I don't. Not because I don't like them, but I had limited time. But for those one actually make the connection, try to do two way. Don't just ask, hey, how am I going to get the cert? How may I help you? Do you need someone do some beta test? Because then suddenly you are not the seeker to get, you also give. Then that is no longer become like I take, become two way. just like one of the AWS uh, community builder, Weibo. He asked a question. I help him to become an AWS instructor. He teach me how to become a better presenter. So now we become not only good friends, we actually polish and empower both of us to be better instructors.
Makes sense. Yeah, it's a good advice. Yeah, it's a mutual relationships are always longer than a one-sided one. So yeah, that's a good one. Thanks, Sammy.
Mhm.
Yeah. Going back to what Ashish asked, uh, 70, like what kept you, like one is like multi-cloud, but what kept you going to get, all in all the major cloud providers and beyond?
Uh, yeah, this is all another fun story. I like everything is opportunity. After I get Google, naturally I should continue to get Google, but I failed the machine learning beta, so I say, oh, I'm not good at Google, and I have no project on Google. So then I say maybe I should just like stop. And then my new employer, I got a job at my new employer. They using Microsoft Azure. Then I would say, okay, maybe I should consider I'm Azure certified. It's good on the paper. So take the easiest Azure exam, which I think is administrator. So I take the exam. Oh, no, I forgot which. AC 900, the fundamental should be piece of cake.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's really piece of cake. Yeah, I'm 12x certified. Ask me fundamental. So when I'm done, the company asks, hey, we want to be a premier partner of Microsoft, which means they need lots of certs. I say, uh, are you sponsor it? They say, yes, we sponsor it. And if you clear one cert, you get $500 bonus. Sweet. So I'm not kidding. I say, I can get the exam for free. I'm going to get bonus if I hit able to get the cert. Most people don't spend the time to learn, but for me, I say I already won AWS background. Just like cloud platform are very similar. Once you know one, the rest are easy. But not close your eyes. So I say, take one, take one, take one, take one, take one, and then I say, oh, I'm fully certified on Azure, and I say, probably I should stop. So that's when I was after I finished that in 2000, I think it's 2021. I actually fully certified on AWS Core because Azure have like 80 certs. I probably get like 20 something back then. So then I stopped. Then probably Prasad say, why you go to Google? Okay, that's another one. Google have a challenge at a company. If you get Google certified, we're going to give you a sweat. It's not something big like a T-shirt. I say, why not? Company pay for it. Yes. Do I get bonus? No. But I'm not looking for bonus. Like remember, I always want to learn more. I would say anything Google is not offering or Google has offer is not as good as AWS. Oh, I find out lots of them since this is AWS heavy. Google have many services is not as mature as AWS. Of course, something Google is better. But then by doing that, customer asks me, I'm going to pick a cloud provider, my client. And I would say, this is why you pick this. This is why you don't pick that. If you decide to go that, this is a limitation. Instead of I have strong bias, say I'm going to using one provider or another. But I give them very educated solution. At the end of the day, I can tell you most cases is unless you have strong reasons, stick with AWS. This is why. And not only this is why I think, because I'm certified. I know why. I tell you what service is not there. You cannot do this. You want that path? Go for it. So that's one of the reasons why I got fully certified on Google is because that way I can compare services between provider and give the best solution to the customer. When they have the best educated uh, uh, advice, you gain trust. And that's one of the things as a solution architect is you need to gain trust of the customer. You know what you are talking about. You are not just say, hey, I think this service is good. I know this is good. By the way, this person is not working yet or not work as expected, but it should not impact you. Then you say, hey, I can trust Sammy, I can trust Pasa, I can trust Asia because you know what you're talking about and you also know your competitor is doing. So you are more well-rounded.
So then I'll have a follow-up question. I barely can keep up myself with AWS. How do you keep up yourself with three cloud providers?
The good news is the first time is difficult. The second time, you just have to update the knowledge that you have, and your knowledge is supposed to build up. So if your foundation is good, next year you just add something on top. That's it. But if your foundation is like some people say, that I'm just learn, for example, solution architect associate after you get a cert. You do not use the service. You do not read the news about the new services. You do not see like the community people ask questions. 3 years later, when you try to renew it, good luck. Most likely, those area you just don't know. Because I learned all three clouds, because I interact with customer and customer ask a lot of questions, so I keep updating on everything. Kind of like you work out everything on each muscle group every day, so you won't worry like tomorrow I have to run a marathon, for example, because I run every day or I do some exercise every day. I have the foundation to go. Now, time is always a challenge, so that's why I probably going to find time to come up with something how you're going to renew your cert, because that's total different path. Get your foundation to get your first certification is one thing. To renew, you have different skill set. You're not going to go for a 30 hours, 40 hours training course again. It's waste your time. Oh, by the way, that is already 3 years old too. That class, throw it away. You need something new. But the new class probably have 90% overlap. So one thing is by constantly keep in touch with the technology and also learn new technology will make your renewal much easier. And also remember, your true skills is not get the cert. It's when you face a customer. When the customer asks you solve technical question or business question, it's always new. The troubleshooting or the solution solving skills that you build is there. That is the value that the cert come with. It's not the cert itself. So even you fail the cert, that's fine. I solve your business problem.
Yeah.
Nice, interesting. Now I have a few questions which is coming from audience, so I'll pick one of them. They are somehow related, so let me first pick up from Abhijit. What is the best way to use certification knowledge effectively while you are working on projects?
Good. Since right now I'm more customer facing, so the answer I give you is I try not to focus on the technical implementation. Try to focus on what business solution will be, what business value will be, why this solution will work. Give you an example. Oh, I need to solve my compute problem. It's very expensive. Can you give me like something easier? So you easily say, I'm going to using auto scaling group. I'm going to do this. But the whole thing, this is cost optimization. And the solution is talk about EC2 ASG, but this is compute optimization. And this compute optimization will do the cost saving by using the dynamic elasticity of the cloud computing. This important. Once you have this one, you can go to any other like number other provider or other project. You can plug it in. Number two, this is an easy story to tell people. I can tell everyone understand. Oh, we can build a compute solution using the elasticity of the compute, and then the result is you're going to have cost saving because you're not going to waste your money. But if you translate to purely AWS solution, let me try it again. Oh, I'm going to build a launch template and going to using the auto scaling group, and then I'm going to do a elastic compute, and then I'm going to using the AWS saving plan. And people say, "What are you talking about?" But the first one is easy. The second one that build your skill set on the business side, and then the technical side, like I said, once you're hands-on, that's a nice thing because you implement technical one. Once you're hands-on a few times, you already have the muscle memory. You will be able to do it. The gap, just do the Google. But if you are going to talk to your project manager, uh, why you have this solution? You don't throw those terms. They lost. Remember, I say from the beginning, you just say EC2 EBS, people lost. But when you talk about the business solution, CEO like it, CFO like it, your clients like it. That's why I'm saying being successful solution architect is able to tell them the story people can understand.
Yeah. So solution architect is not just about technical; it's about consulting also, and that's where
Mm,
your skills to speak to the C-level executives really comes handy. And to
yeah.
speaking that like what Sam is mentioning as like business problems and business solutions, that's really important.
Makes sense.
And
Now I
let
have
me add
a
another one is I sometimes the C level feel threatening by those terms. You probably don't know. As a technical people, I say, hey, we put an EC2 and then we're going to put S3, and then executive told me, so what is this EC3 and S2? I say, what are you talking about? There's no such thing called EC3 S2, but they don't know. But if I say that we have a compute, basically virtual machine, and we have like object storage, then they understand, they got it. But then you just put in object storage S3 and compute is EC2.
Yeah.
Uh, I'll take another question from audience Prasad if it is okay.
Yes, please go ahead.
So this is long, but yeah, very, very important one. So after clearing your cert and hands-on labs like Hello World, when we hit the interview, is it a totally different ball game with real-world scenarios? How to get the first chance in cloud job? Yeah,
Okay.
very, very
Yes.
common question, isn't it?
Good. So this actually talk about a little bit on interviewing skills. And as a hiring manager, I can tell you, if you ask this first job means you are junior, I honestly, as a hiring manager, I do not pay too much attention on your actual technical skill. You need to have some, but it's your problem skills and how you present the solution. So in this case, you say you have a hello world and interview until the board game like they're going to build like Amazon.com. What the heck? I don't know what you talk about. So you say that, oh, yes, my understanding of Amazon.com talk business. They use it to solve a business on the shopping cart. Talk about things that they have this kind of challenge and problem. One of them is going to display the information. So for that portion, I have done a project called Hello World. This is how I do it. What solution I use? I using the compute. I using the object storage, and which is basically solve their storage problem and compute problem. The rest I will find out. I'm gonna continue to learn and study. And by the way, I'm actually study for this blah 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 exam or this blah 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 training. And then so, is there any concern that I cannot deliver the value to the company? So now, number one, you tell what you offer. Go back to ask the interviewer, the hiring manager, what this person is looking. And if the person say, I need someone strong with database. If you are strong with database, you say that. But if you are not strong with database, you can say, I had interact with database, and my strong is on Python programming, for example, and I have done this. Use the opportunity to sell everything you have. The one you don't have to say you will pick it up because you already take the cert. You demonstrate you are eager to learn, and you already first chance to get a cloud job. If you are first time, you already got the interview. Trust me, the hiring manager want to hire you. When I was hiring manager, I cannot find people. You come here, you already have a good chance. Show me what you have. You have 30 years on data center. Tell me why this knowledge is going to be useful on the cloud. The cloud technology you are still learning, that you can pick up. But if you don't tell me that you have the something offer to me, I cannot sell you to the my boss to pay you as my resource. So remember, you have interview, you already very good. Now you haven't had the interview, same thing. Say what you do, what business value, or say something that such a way that the hiring manager say, this is different. Not just tell me you have a piece of paper or cert. Not just say you have a hello world. You say, using Amazon, for example, you say that you understand my business is doing shopping cart. You understand we have the challenge. You understand actually refresh is a challenge. Oh, you actually do caching, something very quick summary and potentially save company 20% of like expense. Let me talk to this guy or this gal.
That's really good advice. Always look at the big picture and never underestimate whatever small hands-on work that you have done. Even if it's building a hello world, think about it, how it is going to fit in the big picture, and explain that big picture and tell that why you have done this. Great
Yeah.
advice, Sammy.
Yeah, and the one is like people forget it because I was an engineer. I think engineering, everything engineering. Now I think about the business. At the end of the day, trust me, everything starts from the business. Business have a problem. They find someone to give you the solution. Solution architect. The solution architect going to find if a technical solution exists to solve the business pain point. When you're able to solve the business pain point, the actual solution sometimes is not important. The business just need a solution. So you say, oh, by the way, hello, well, oh, no, no, actually, that's a software we can buy solve your problem today, and it's actually cheaper than building your our own solution. That is a better solution than you spend 3 months to build a solution. So that's why sometimes don't focus on what you don't have. Focus one you have. One is you'll have the creativity to solve the problem, to solve the business pain point, and you can offer to your hiring manager to solve his hiring problem, which is solve the business pain point. A cert is just start a conversation. Remember,
Yeah.
cert, you just start a conversation.
Get your point. Now, I have one more thing here on this same Hello World thing. So if I'm starting learning something, I think about scaling it. So I have built a static website, Hello World, What if 10,000 people come to it? What if 20,000 people comes to it? What if 1 million people come to it? Will my architecture withstand it? Would it be able to scale? What kind of things I would need for automation? So I start thinking in that scaling manner. So it gives me idea like automation should be there. I need to have a version control in my code. Maybe I have to put some logging into place. So that's how you can scale your architecture
Mm.
theoretically and then see what component would fit in. So that could be one more advice. But thanks for that, Sammy. It was interesting.
I like
Good.
that. You mentioned something really nice. You solve the business problem with a very simple picture. Remember, someone is walking
Exactly.
on the street, and then you can add detail later on. Make it simple, because at the end of the day, business has a budget. You want to make your solution within the budget to bring value. You give a like auto scale, going to global, going to be have redundancy, and then it's over budget, then the project is going to be failed. But if you have the solution, fix the project, and remember to tell your audience, which is hiring manager, that you do know those options. If you need add those options, we can add later on, but now this solution will fix your problem, and I'm the right person to to be hired. Any more question? Don't be afraid to ask that question during interview. That's why I learned in America, at least, because that means you have confidence. Instead of no question because I'm afraid to ask question. No, no. I want you as the helper to help me, the hiring manager. You ask me question. If I have no, I don't have any more question. That means you most likely get hired because I have no more question. So just don't be afraid. But of course, the way you ask is very sincere. Try to solve the problem of the hiring manager or the organization, and that will make you stand out compared with other competitor. With or without cert, you are above on the top pile of the next interview.
Yeah.
Nice, nice, good. Now, Prasad, do you have any other question? Because I'm skimming through
I have
one
a
question
question.
which is very long. So I'll wait for me to skim up and then give information.
Okay. So the question that I will have, Sammy, is that did you have a mentor during this whole journey? And
Uh,
like, is
not
mentoring is going to help?
expect Not exactly. That's one of the challenge I have. I do have someone motivate me. He's on LinkedIn. His name is Eugene. Because when I was like decided no longer to do the by AWS journey, I saw his posting on LinkedIn and constantly getting more search. I say this guy is crazy, and then later on I found out this guy is not crazy. He is passionate about spread the word. So I say maybe I can try to learn from him. So similar when I do right now I have 70, maybe later on I have 100, or maybe I suddenly disappear on this whole cloud world. Doesn't matter. If my message can motivate you, use that one. So and now I'm trying to be mentor. If someone is like ask me and if I bandwidth, I will do that because I see the value. Being mentor, I actually benefit from learning the subject better. I can present the same content shorter period of time because everyone's time is like limited. So uh, seek a mentor. Just I say, hey, can you do this? And if they say no, it's fine. Don't think it personal. They can be busy, but when you say yes, commit the time to work with their mentor. Most mentor they are extremely busy. Actually, I take it back. I do have a mentor on the networking side. I have a network engineer. His name is John Tamarian because I'm weak at networking. Remember, I was like don't know what the heck about those like private VIP or whatever. So I when I have a time, I just drop by his cubicle and then ask him a few questions. And anytime I ask very short question, he give me short answer and fill the gap. So that's why I was able to learn quickly on the networking and clear the exam.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
And
Now,
that sorry, go ahead,
go ahead.
Ashish, go ahead.
Go ahead, Prasad. Go ahead.
No, I was just adding to that. That's the important point. Like you can have more than one mentor. You can have mentor for specific
Yeah,
fields also. One
exactly.
can be
Mm,
your
yes.
career mentor. One can be a specific technical mentor. So yeah, keep interacting with people, and you will be able to find that path.
Yeah, and like I
Yeah,
say,
exactly.
Eugene is my mentor indirectly, but his mentoring is using his article, and then I pose some questions. Sometimes he answer, so that is actually mentoring me. Same thing. Someone people ask me which step to go. I say start with the foundational one. Do not jump step. That's a very good advice. Trust me. Even you are like me, which have like 20, almost 30 years experience when I started, I should not start with the a solution architect associate. I should start with the cloud practitioner because they build much solid foundation and much
Foundation.
easier to transition. Would I be able to go solution architect professional on my first try? Maybe, but that is much harder journey. But when you have step by step, little step, then the journey get more smoother to prevent burnout or to prevent the down moment that you say, "Oh, I'm not good." Just more effective.
Agree.
I agree on that. Now, Sammy, I have to warn you that there is a long question from audience, so you have to read it. Yeah, because I try to summarize, but it is a very logical question only. And anyone who wants to ask question, try to see if you could summarize it in a shorter sentences,
Mhm.
so it would be much easier for everyone to read. But yeah, I'll give it few seconds to assimilate and answer this question.
Yeah, maybe I can because I cannot get the concept. So maybe I tell you a story. I like storytelling. When I start my cloud journey, I was a DBA. I was DB architect. I was the cloud platform managed the whole AWS, and I'm also the acting security officer. And I have to do 24/7 on call because our product is like 24/7. And prior to that, remember I say I was working for a company. They actually have two teams, and I can never get into the cloud team because they start asking the three-letter words. I have no idea what that means. They don't even give me a chance, even I have 20 years of experience. So for you, you have to make the business decision, your business decision. Do I want to spend 1 hour every day to learn something I like? Start with this one. I like, I enjoy. Uh, enjoy. I don't know what you enjoy. You like operation. Maybe you enjoy development. Just enjoy. That enjoyment will give you the energy to learn. When you learn enough, now you have the development skills, so you can switch to a developer job. And do not sit for junior. That's one big mistake. You have more than a junior. If you compete with a junior, you will lose. Let me tell you why. Junior, they have much lower pay. You won't be happy. So when you are not happy, you won't last long. Number two, junior cannot have the business skill set that you say, oh, operation have this problem, that problem, whatever the problem you have, that is your package hiring manager can use if you know how to sell it. But we're going to say that using this. I have the operation problem. I do that for many years, and I want to improve it. That's why I learned development. That's why I learned how to using these microservices. This is how I'm going to solve that problem if I have an impact on the company. And your organization has similar problem. I know the operation problem. I know how to difficult to break down, but I know how to tackle it from this angle using my skill set. And I'm deserve to be your principal cloud engineer. This is why. Now, if they offer you the cloud engineer professional job, take it, you get more pay. If they offer you mid level, you still win. If you get junior, you say you run because you won't last, honestly. Uh, and my experience is most engineer I know, like in my case, transfer from a database architect on prem to a cloud engineer. I actually think I don't know anything. This is a true story. I go to reinvent and then log with another engineer in the lab. He typed so fast, he clicked so fast, I don't even know what the heck he do back then. Now I know because don't worry, those are just next. You really don't have to read the screen. Now I know why. Actually better. I'm going to write cloud formation. But when you are new, you feel like you know nothing. No, you do know more than you know. You just haven't been proficient in the steps. But once you're proficient in the step, you have more to offer. If you are junior, they will not give you take a big project. So the 20 years of like operation experience you cannot offer the company to help the company. You shortchange the company too. So, but yeah, find the gap. Uh, welcome to connect with me. I can see what's your use case. But I see many times people have the gap. They have the gap. They do not. They are not junior. If you have been IT 20 years, you are IT 20 years. You just have to fill the gap to be a cloud professional.
Yeah, that's good advice. Ashish, I see
Yeah,
you're on mute. I can go
yeah,
ahead and ask
yeah.
another
That's an
question.
interesting one, and I have like one more question here about like three don'ts which you would advise to people. I'll put it here, like so that they can avoid the traps, isn't it?
All right, since I have three don'ts, I do it. Number one, don't delay. Start today. Don't delay. Start today. And part of it is like don't delay your exam too. If you already well prepared, follow the exam, do the test, 70-80% ready, go for it. Don't delay. The second don't is like don't underestimate you don't know. That's the second part. You will hit the roadblock sooner or later. So when you hit it, embrace it. Find ways to go around the problem. Get the extra energy to do it. For example, you maybe want to learn a solution architect professional and unable to clear the exam. It's not easy exam to clear, so expect that. So don't just give up. The last don't is I would say don't underestimate your ability. Most people I met, doesn't matter is a business people or like an engineer, they both have the skill to learn it from each other. But the problem is like we're afraid of failure, so we avoid to start that. Try to do something. So one shortchange your ability to go forward. The second one is shortchange you from stop going to forward. The third one is stop you from even start. So don't have those three roadblocks basically.
So that brings me to the next question. Like when I hear you saying those things, how to stay focused? Like,
Uh, Good point. Uh, when I was that focused, I find out that just like maybe I'm using marathon for example, you look at a short goal, short for example the next mile mark, and you just look at that, just focus on that and finish that and worry about less other thing. So what I'm saying is when you study one subject, just focus on able to understand study, and if you finish that don't get it, that's fine, you already focus on it, move on to focus another one. You may say wait a minute, you just say and focus on that. I say focus, not say finish, two different things. Focus so you can learn. Finish may not right now, like when I do the advanced networking, I'm not finished because I'm not ready to understand the concept, but I focus to learn the topic, the networking. So another thing, do not set a time period too long. uh, Most people cannot study more than 10 minutes to stay focused. You try, but you are not memorizing. So that's another tip I do is I every 10 minutes I will drink water. Maybe I go to Amazon.com, spend 10 seconds shop for something I want, but do not order it. Go back to study. When you do something excites you, you say, "Oh, I want that new iPad." That excites you to learn another 10 minutes. So those short little breaks will actually help you to do the focus. Stand in front of the monitor for like 4-10 hours. Most of the time, the hour 3 or no, hour 2 to hour 10 is wasted. So that's an hour one. And the last one is remove any distraction. Now, go find something to excite you or sip water. Those are breaks and recharge you. Something is going to make you off focus is I don't know, maybe you know what I mean. The one is make you suddenly no longer your mind on what you are studying, then that time is not efficient, maybe your heart is separated too. So focus, keep something focused, short period of time, take a break, and remove any distraction can make you not focus on.
that's good. So now tell me, what is future? Like, for what have you planned for your future? Like having already 70 plus certifications, authorized instructor. What do you plan next?
Yeah, my next move is try to be more active and provide the content and also be mentoring and teaching, because I think the biggest value as a human being, I say, is not just like gain and for yourself. You need to gain and pass it on. And the next thing is I do know that like the big success is my team. When they are equipped with the cloud knowledge, I spend less time to explain the concept to them. We can work faster. So if we have more cloud engineer, and then that way it's like the whole cloud community would be better. So contribute, and if you know something, share. And even one of the questions say, hey, I know the hello world. Find someone more junior than you, spread, teach that junior how hello world work when you learn, and then you find out that I can present that message better. Now you grow more than just write a hello world, and that person also receive that. So that is one of my next goal, to be not just equip myself, but going to pass the way how I learn, mistake I made to others, and then so that we all can learn faster. Not like when I was in 2016, I cannot start. 2018, I don't know how to start. Now there's so much content, people don't know which to pick. I say pick one, a
Exactly.
cloud guru, just pick one through the whole thing. Then you're going to modify your training program. Besides, running marathon, there's 10,000 different program. Pick one, train. It work. It doesn't work. Find another one, but do not keep changing your training plan. It won't end well.
Okay, as you keep referring to marathon, right? And I know that like if anyone has seen Sammy's LinkedIn profile, I'm sure most of you have seen. It's like cloud marathon and normal marathon. So there was a period in between when you thought about stopping running and focusing on cloud, and then coming back to it. So how was that journey? Like when you were studying, it was because like you were not able to find time, or
It's time. Mainly it's the time because my workload is probably just say that the way to me perceived is like 12 hours day. Sometimes it's even longer. My mind. Sometimes it's my mind. Another thing is physically I'm just like kind of tired because I study a lot. But now I figured out that you actually gain energy by workout. How to explain that? But not long workout like run 2-3 hours. But if you run for like 45 minutes, your energy level go up, your mind is clear, you sleep better, so everything work well. So that's why I'm saying you do not have to stop your physical exercise in order to get your cloud certification. Similarly, you do not just because you work out, you don't. When you find ways to combine both, you get double the excitement. Like when I was training marathon, I actually listen to cloud guru or some training. I cannot see the screen, so I had to run mentally draw the picture. And guess what? Now, if I go to talk to a customer based on my remember that drawing, I can draw the diagram, do my whiteboard session. If something I don't know, I go back to the watch the screen only for that section. So it actually empower you or me to be more dynamic and actually do accomplish more.
yeah. And I've seen that. I've been following you. Like I see that you have from 5 minute plank to almost 10 minutes plank within a week.
And actually today I just tried is 12. So I
Oh,
already go from
wow.
5 to 12. And the point is I definitely would write an article. Is like we all have something to share. So if you have stories, share. Even if it's failure, share. So I don't make the same failure. And that is part of the learning journey. Is like why we have to go through the same pain when someone already go through or already the solution or don't try it. That is one way I like about cloud computing. You see someone post on a Stack Overflow, you say, oh, that's a wrong solution, that's the right solution. You don't have to come up with a solution by yourself. The community is big. There's so many people. That's like the to be SA program. So many, take advantage of them. But at the end of the day, you still have to run your own marathon. It means you still have to study, you still have to do the lab. So set a time to be excited and do 5 minutes a day. I don't care. Just like my planks. So it's like you need to be physically fit enough. You need to be mentally strong enough, and you also need to be engaged with people. When you have all three dots together, your career will be go to the next level for sure.
Cool.
Nice. Yeah, I agree. It is an ecosystem. It's not like one thing you have to focus on. Like if you talk about a country who is developed, so it's not just because their military is strong or not because their healthcare is strong. It is the all over thing which are strong, and that's why it makes sense to have physical as well as mental peace and as well as mental abilities. So yeah, that make complete sense. So yeah, Prasad and Semi, you are my inspiration. I have to start at least a 100-meter sprint. I'm very lazy in that, but yeah, I'll make sure that this Sunday I go for it.
Or
Thank you for
do a
that.
2 minute plank position. Because that one is
Yeah,
really everyone we can actually go down and continue to do and hold it because it's a good workout. Trust me, you do not need equipment. You focus your mind, body, everything, and you can always stop. No harm. You're just on the ground. Not like running, you're probably going to fall over. But it's actually short and intense and train your mind. So point is find ways to upskill, find ways to be healthy, find ways to like enjoy. When you enjoy that, you have the energy.
nice.
Yeah. So
And
not
go
go ahead,
ahead,
Ashish.
Prasad. So yeah, means there was a question on chat. Do you have any YouTube channels? So if you have, people would be interested to
Yeah,
subscribe.
I best couple things. Yes, I'm working on the YouTube channel. So any one of you is a YouTube guru, please help me. I do have some short video I put is personal, just like that. But I want to organize, and anytime I have short ideas, I just post a couple minutes. And anytime I can share, I can talk faster than I type. You can see that for sure. And also I have the energy when I speak. When I type, you cannot see the energy from my words. So that way is I do want to have a YouTube channel and then going to put the content. And the goal is you learn something, hopefully it be funny, and then you're going to be benefit, and then achieve my goal. Is working on it. And thank you for that question. And again, anyone is I offer help because I still have to set up the equipment, things like that. Just uh, PM me on LinkedIn, so that way I can find some helper. I need help too. Trust me, I need help all the time. You can be my mentor, be the YouTube instructor, my YouTube instructor.
Yeah, it's a nice world out there. YouTube is it's interesting, and I feel amazed like how people spend so much time and live in helping others. So that's one thing. Like we all start by watching YouTube videos, learn something here and there. So it's a good thing. So yeah, Sammy, we will look forward to your channel. Hopefully, it will be out soon. Yeah, so let's see that.
It will. One of my goal on actually forget one of my goal for helping others is going to have the YouTube channel, and 100% I'm not thinking about making money. I don't care about that part. I already passed that. Not I don't like money, but the motivation is sharing. And then if you have a financial benefit at the end, I won't reject it, but I would say primary goal is share so that you don't have to go through the same pain. You don't have to give up too early, or when you need some motivation, I can tell you this is the same journey I go through or someone go through. Just find way, take a little break, resume it. Because one of the biggest thing I can see is like maybe 30 years from now for those younger audience, you guys become all of them become gold jacket. You're going to be the CEO of some company, and then you say, oh, 10, 30 years ago, I see a little video from this little guy called Sammy. I will be more than happy.
Nice.
Yeah, people are actually happy
Yeah,
to have your like golden jacket live. And
Yes, and also
exactly.
I promote it too. Deep Racer, do it. It's really fun too. It's truly that's why I'm promoting right now, because that's one way to learn machine learning, very affordable. Uh, yeah, but that's probably on my channel. I'm going to post some video.
Okay, nice. Now, I have a different question here, maybe not just related to cloud. Like, how any books you recommend, anything which you feel like help people, maybe life hacks, anything, any book which inspires you or which is like your go-to place when you are a little low or you want to get motivated, any books you recommend? Because some of us are readers who want to read something, some of
Mhm.
us are watchers, so it depends. So any book recommendations, I mean.
So is it any book or a technical book only?
Any book, not technical. Technical is
Okay.
too much. Any book is much
Yes.
better.
I usually like to read books is like going to lighten me to basically make me become more how do I say focus on the soft skills. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So for example, start beginning with why. What's his name? Suddenly forget his name. The one is say always start beginning with why. Suddenly forget his name. That's how bad.
Simon Seek.
Yeah, yeah,
Start
yeah.
with a Y. Yeah.
Start with why, because one thing is that when we do things you have to know why. Like when I say ask me why I'm doing those for free, because I see the value. When I see the value, people gonna have that, they have smiling. That smiling will empower me to do more. So the why is going to give you the energy, the willpower to continue whatever your journey, cloud journey or your career or your family. So start with why. That's one. The other one is it's still an IT book, but it's a friction. It's the Phoenix Project is so fun. Once you read it, you say, "Oh yeah, this is how IT work." People who actually in IT will just have a good laugh. People not on IT, why you guys are laugh so hard on this friction? Because it's so real. Because they talk about the story so close to the real world, and and also as non-fiction is I find some books that is more like focus on training your physical body. So I can be as simple as some marathon training or 5K, or maybe people like baseball, track it. Just pick something is give step by step to keep you physically motivated. When your physical energy is low, your mind, your mental energy will be also low. That's what I see. And surprisingly, when your mental and mind is low, physical exercise to pump up the energy. So they are correlated. So
Now, one question is on your golden jacket itself. So, do you pay for it or AWS ships you?
the answer is it depends. Yeah. Once you get all certification, you need to find out whether your organization, I assume your organization is already joined AWS Partner Network, is belong to the AWS Partner Program. If it is, then you have to follow up. And in my case, I don't have to pay, but I don't know whether it's my employer paid or AWS give me this jacket. The second part is the program is keep changing because it's not an official program. So the Go Jacket, the last time I know the program change was December last year, so it's only 4 months ago. In order to get the Go Jacket now, you need to be either AWS employees, or two, you are AWS partner who is also AWS ambassador, who is also AWS fully certified. So this is the last time I checked. So solution is got AWS hire you and get all the cert, so you get you can get it. If not, join APN and ask them to make you become an ambassador. If you are fully certified, it should not be too difficult. And if you are like me, eager to share what your knowledge is and empowering others, I don't see any reason why they don't want you to become an ambassador. So that's a two path right now you can do it. And since I haven't get my AWS ambassador edition, which is supposed to say here ambassador, this is the regular. Um, so I don't know whether I have to pay for it, but I will pay for it even I have to pay for it. I don't think it's that expensive. Maybe 100 or 50. I don't know.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Now we are in the conclusion part of it. So I want to make one announcement here. Sorry, Sammy, for that jumping in. Like we are Holly. Sorry. Yeah, Holly was supposed to come on the chat. Somehow she is not able to. There are some changes, and then that's why we are a little disappointed too. But we will try to get her again in the same next sessions probably. Let's see how it goes. She confirmed. She also posted on LinkedIn about that she would be here, and somehow something happened and she is not able to join. So apologies for that, but we'll try to see like how we can have her back and then have a conversation which will help you in understanding things in a better way. So I hope everything is fine with her. We were not able to contact her, but probably she just got busy with something which is important, obviously. So sorry for that, but don't worry, we will have her again. Even if we have to extend one more week of BESA session, we'd like to hear from her because she has been a tremendous coach in all the aspect of FANG companies and how to get into the job. So we would have her in some other session, but not for today. Sorry, everyone who were hoping for her to join, but Sammy, you were phenomenon. Means I want to like extend it to 10 hours and still
Yeah,
it would be less.
and maybe since Holly is due to some I will assume personal reasons, and that's hopefully she's
Exactly.
okay. Yeah. So what I can share is maybe my journey when I have, because one of the questions they say about the cloud provider, and also I can tell when I as a candidate apply for jobs as well as when I am a hiring manager. From this angle, I can share something hopefully useful. Number one is when I long time ago, I worked for a company 15 years, so I don't have to interview. So when I have to interview again, I'm scared to death because I'm thinking if I fail the interview means I'm nobody. No, number one, interview have nothing to do with you. You can be perfectly fine. Business just for some reason don't hire you. So don't never because you fail an interview think you are lesser than you're supposed to be. That's number one. Number two, the interview is all about presentation, not your technical skill. Trust me, your technical skill should not be your interview skill. Your interview is in a minute you tell me why I need you. I'm a hiring manager. Thing, if you are a hiring manager, you don't really care the technical skill because technical skill going outdated so fast. What you know about this solution is outdated, but you tell me what you have to offer to solve my business pain point. So always focus on that. Research what the company needs. That's what I'm pretty successful and having an interview. And sometimes I even apply jobs that I have very limited knowledge with that particular area. But Number one, take it as a challenge. That means your personality is not going to be afraid of changes and not afraid of things you don't know, but also demonstrate your skill set that you're capable to do that with hard fact, not some things I think. Instead of like the Hello World one, you say, I know that you are doing shopping cart. I am a developer, can learn quickly. For example, I get a cert in 2 weeks and I build a website, and this is going to solve your problem. You need someone capable to deliver solution fast and learn fast and have a proven record. Uh, do you have any other concern, or can you tell me what any gaps you need? Oh, I need someone know database. No worries. I'm actually working on the database. Hopefully, you're really working on the database. And then say that by the time you make the decision, I probably already get the cert. And the best part, with my blah 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 skill, I help you, because that is one of the technical interview. I when I see many people, they don't say that. As hiring manager, um, most hiring manager don't know the cert. I do. When you have a piece of cert, most of the time they assume they already have that knowledge. So that's good for why I tell people cert itself is not define your success or failure, but cert will make your interview much easier. And once you have that first part done, the rest, Holly going to tell you how to fill the gap, how to pick the company you like, and also make sure you interview the company you like, not just no, rephrase it. You interview for the team you want to join. If the company is great, the team is horrible, you will have a horrible career. Trust me, I've seen so many teams they misfit uh, for some other reasons. That is not what your career want. You are the CEO of your own career. You manage your career. Find the position, make you become the CEO of your own career, and that is your partner. It can be like Facebook. I don't care. You can be the partner with Facebook, but your career may be the CEO of the future Amazon.com or something. So remember that.
So one advice that I got when I was interviewing for AWS, and now I advise to everyone who is into AWS, is that uh, we look at the stats that getting into FANG companies is so difficult. Like out of every probably 100 or 1,000 people who interview, there is one people who's get selected. Now flip the coin. Think from a hiring manager perspective. He is dying to get the right person. He needs to interview 1,000 people to get you once. He wants you to succeed. The interviewers wants you to succeed. And if you approach that from that angle, then it's a different thing. The person on the other side wants you to succeed. So listen to that person and think about what he wants to hear. And accordingly, make it more easily conversational rather than thinking about, oh, I'll not be able to do this. And I was in that situation. Almost everyone of us will be in that situation at some stage. But how do you overcome that and think from the other person perspective? So now when I take interviews, I'm like, please give me a good answer that I can hire you and I can stop interviewing more people. Right?
Yeah,
It's a painful process.
exactly. Yeah, means it's so painful to drop people when you are struggling on a day-to-day basis to have more head count, and then you feel that people are not prepared or they would not go well. So yeah, we want to hire people. So intention of any interviewer is like, okay, maybe this is the candidate which I can push to the next round, or who would be joining us. So positive things are there. Only thing is like sometimes you have to make the right connection in terms of understanding expectation, and it's not always technical. Maybe like if I talk about AWS, maybe first round would be technical, afterward all becomes behavioral. So it is very important to develop the whole ecosystem, not just one focus area. So that's important.
Yeah, I can share a funny story. Actually, happened to be that's one thing I like about. I have so many funny stories. Remember, I resumed my AWS journey because a recruiter approached me. Actually, two recruiters, not one. They both approached me, so I'm confused. They say, "Are you asking me to for this role or that role?" And finally, I find out it's two different recruiters from two different departments asked me to have two different roles. One is technical account manager, the other solution architect. Extreme, the one in Amazon.
Yes.
No, so I was saying, okay, so should I interview once? But back then I have to fly in to Bay Area. So they say, no, we're going to have you interview for both positions the same day. If you ever have this situation, don't do it, because every interview I've asked, are you interviewing for temp or are you interviewing me for essay. Then I had to remember the story. So that day I was interviewed. Typically, I think 8 people. That day I was have 11 interview, and because so intense, so confusing. At the end, the last two, I think I have no story to tell because I ran out of story. I did not hear enough story. What I'm saying is like the preparation is more important than the your technical skill. Definitely, you were able to go to the final round. You already have enough, but they want to find out that you are so excel compared with the rest, so they can find reason to hire you, so they can finish this hiring process. As hiring manager, I hate contact people and then find out this doesn't fit. I rather spend time to do my project to get it done. And all hiring manager is the same. Trust us, we want to hire you. When we do popping question, sometimes is we want to confirm you know what you are talking about, so that we put you the right position, not because we don't want to hire you. Sometimes we find gaps. We want you to give me the answer. I can write, you know that, so I can move you to give you an offer. So instead of afraid of that, any chance, become a salesperson. Sell you, solve the problem, and pay attention what they ask. Oh, so how much money you save? Don't keep telling you technology. Tell how much money. Give me a percentage. Give me a dollar amount so I can write it down. And that's one thing I say. Like I say, interview skill have more weight than your technical skill once you go to that round.
Yeah, uh, absolutely right. When you talk about the star format and the R result, result
Mm.
is very important. Like, as I was saying, give me a dollar amount, give me a percentage. You know, like if you say that, the outcome of this particular project I did was I got promoted, that is a byproduct, your promotion, or
Exactly.
like you getting that's a byproduct. But what happened with that project? How did the company or the end customer benefit from
Yeah.
it?
How
That's
the
the most
business
important.
got benefited from it. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I like that. Maybe we should have a session about the. I assume you probably already have. It's like the five don't during interview, not just AWS. Like one of the don't I find out is that I give too much detail about how I solve the problem. So that, not bear with me, this is what I observe. The AWS interview have to type your answer and listen to you at the same time. The story too long, they say, "What the heck are you talking about?" If you give something like the story, like say that, "Oh, tell me a time actually you are contributing." Oh, just say that. "Oh, I saw a man walking across the street. A car is coming, so I jump in and pull him back to the sidewalk and save his life, and he thanked me." Clear story. And then later on, that person is thank me and go to buy me a lunch. That's the value, right? Oh, I saw a guy. I think he's like some 6 feet tall, and then 6 feet tall, and he's red jacket, and a blue sport Corvette. You keep typing, and the end it say, "What are you talking about?" Finally, say, "What's the result?" I
I
forgot what's
get
the
your point.
result. No, just tell the whole story STAR and make the the one who record the record so easy you get a key point, so he can pass or she can pass that to the decision maker. And good story, like I say, that's what they want you to provide them. Trust me, you guys can add it because you already on that round. Unless you totally screw up, you already there. You give me the information so I can pass you through the HR.
Yeah,
Please help me so I don't have to interview another person tell me the story about a guy 6 feet tall and a red Corvette is coming from what direction, 30 miles per hour. I don't need to know those details. Just tell me that you save a life, he buy you lunch. That's all I need to know.
yeah.
Got it. Got it.
Sammy, we know that we are way over time, but if you have some more time, we have some questions coming in the chat,
Sure,
and
sure,
we.
sure. I more enjoy to like help the people like what I was. So yeah, sure.
Nice.
So hopefully I'm not skipping anyone. This is the next question. But Ashish, in case if I've skipped any question above it, please feel to like.
It was a
Yeah.
tougher shirt. I usually joking around that, but start with a joke and then the real one. The joke is the first one is the toughest because that's when you make the commitment to start your cloud journey.
Exactly.
So the first one is toughest. That's why I start with partition now. Make it less painful. The real answer is the toughest certificate always depends on your skill set. The reason is like the one you do not have much hands on day to day will be your toughest. So for me back then was the solution architect professional because it tough everything. And back then I was a database professional. So the database cert, I actually don't even prepare for it. I just take it because I had like 30 years of experience under my belt, I pretty much can find out the right answer. So, the proper answer is do not focus on the toughest certificate. Take it as a challenge to make you grow. Because if you're able to grow taking that certificate, the studying part, you already win. To take the exam, if you pass, great. If it doesn't pass, how big the gap? For example, you clear the fail the exam with 720, you only have few questions, fill the gap. But if you are like 600 something, you still have much to learn. Maybe you focus on beef up what else you have. So do not take the certificate tough to measure your ability. Focus on what are the how to say what your next career step can be if you learn that subject and deliver value to the customer. Always remember, at the end, you deliver the value to the customer.
Cool. I'll pop up the next question.
The answer is actually I do not have any specific cloud provider. I am not cloud neutral either. Cloud neutral is like they all the same. They are not the same. Some workload, some provider doing better than. And also this answer, you also I always go back to the business. And my goal is to solve the problem of my customer. The customer who's going to sign a contract with my company. So I have to think, what's your problem? What's your pain point? How can I solve it? So if the customer, give you an example, already have all the stack on Google Cloud, they want to be cost efficient, then I will just find a Google team and see whether the Google solution can solve that problem. But if we can move this customer to AWS to save them money and also have the same or better results, I would recommend that. So always depends on the business. Personally, I will highly recommend AWS for a couple reasons. Number one, you have the most number of engineer. This is not just a business solution for me, but also for the customer. You have your platform sitting there. You need someone to maintain. You go to the street. You probably just run in 10 different AWS certified personnel before you run into one Google. So you hire that resource is a challenge. If you want to stay with that CSP, that's your challenge. So that's the business challenge to think. Another thing is like, if your business is doing something that one provider is better than the other, so the solution will be more toward that provider. But that's not at the end, because you have to look at the cost, you have to look at the support, you have to look at the partner, also look at the customer, whether you can go your customers' clients. Your customer have a client, they may say, I don't want you to run on Google. We are AWS shop. And why? Because all the data egress from their platform to your client's platform going to cost money. So you'll be more cost efficient. So then I would say that, hey, dear customer, your clients, they're using the AWS and you want to use in Google, you can go for that. But all the egress charge, someone had to pay for it. And you are okay with that, that's fine. But if you want to do multi-cloud, also have a workload on AWS, now your solution will be able to get all your AWS customer. Would that solution fit your business need? So that's why I'm saying almost kind of cloud neutral, but it's like business focus, like always client first.
Yeah. Next question.
That's actually another funny story. When I was leaving Fresno, which I stayed there for 23 years, go to San Diego in California. And when I had my job interview, I haven't job interview for 15 years. So in the interview, they say, can you tell a little bit about myself? I say, oh, yeah, I'm Sammy, and I love lots of things. I'm kind of like jack of all trades, not good at anything. I actually, in the interview, I say that. Maybe the hiring manager think I'm joking around, but I'm actually excited about learn many things. And that's what the job need. We are jack of all trade, because this is nature of the cloud engineering firm. But when they say jack of all trade, it actually means you know a lot. Translate to you know a lot. You also have some ways your strength. You can be a star developer, but you have to know networking. You have to know security to a certain extent. And one of the best way to do, like I say, the easy way is hang out with the people. You don't have to study. I don't know networking. Hang out, people just listen to them. Sounds very interesting. Oh, this is interesting. Oh, okay. Oh, now I learned. You don't even have to read the book, and there is a more interesting dialogue because this is a real business problem. Or like right now, I engage with business. They go to the sales team, talk about those sales things. What the heck are you talking about? But now I learned about the sales pipeline. Why sales pipeline important? Because you have engineering solution. You need to have a sales pipeline to make it become a contract. How can we make it work? If engineer have an input, they can help the sales team. Similarly, sales team can tell something. So being jack of all trade is one of the kind of like superpower to be a good cloud engineer. But being jack of all trade doesn't mean you being guru, expert of all. No one can do that. Don't even try that because you will die. Trust me. I just want to update my cert. I already almost died. But what I'm doing is I just see how far I can go. But I learned something new. That make you stand out. Like I say, make you stand out. And also, trust me, when they list all those requirements, like 50 different like AWS services, most likely they're only using 10, but they just list the rest and see whether you can have some checkboxes. So you only need to a little bit about each services, either book knowledge or the real knowledge will help you to win the job. But also ask, so is the job every day going to touch all 50 services? And usually they will narrow down to the key one and hit the one you know. For example, you are the guru of API gateway to say, oh yeah, I like this API gateway. You can using the token, going to find a different provider to go to charge them. And then you can put an application firewall in front to make it secure. Suddenly you stand out more. And you maybe never talk about like use a KMS because then maybe they already using the built-in.
And that's true. As a when you're interviewing, you have a lot of opportunities to like direct your own interview. Like try and use the keywords in which you are strong and see that like rather than like try getting into rabbit holes. Ensure that you are the one who are actually like driving that interview by like your introduction during the first couple of minutes. That will drive like what questions that you might even expect. So ensure that you use those keywords and kind of stuff. And if you yourself go into interview that I know everything about AWS, that will it opens up plethora, and then they can ask any question. But you say that during my last project, as Sam said, I worked on API gateway to sense. So they'll get intrigued, and then the interview will get question on that. So try and do that.
It's a conversation. That's one thing people forget. Interview is actually conversation. Sometimes when I interview the candidate, you don't give me information, I can continue, and it's tough. I want to know you. You tell me something. If I think it's useful, I ask you more questions. If you find it's not useful for me, I may actually change the topic, not because I'm not interested, because I want to find the topic I'm interested to write the reason why I should hire you. Remember, I am not here to waste my hour to see you so that I can kick you out. I want to hire you on minute number 2. And I have some interview go, I can tell that you hire on minute number 2 because you already have everything I need. The rest 15 minutes where chit chat become like we build kind of pre team building because I already know I hire you. I already know you have all the checkboxes. Versus someone you keep going to like all the direction and say, tell me API gauge where you have done something. If you not tell me an AWS service, I can write down. You keep going something and then I say, can I end this interview? So if you see that the hiring manager is like not interested in you, that's a red flag. You had to figure out what did you go on. Maybe you can go popping question again and say that, yeah, I know that you are listing all the services. Is that particular services you guys have need most help? And then they can ask them, if you know, continue. If you know, just pick one services you know. If both know and say that on the business side, remember business always win. On the business side, other than AWS service, do you have any business pain point that you need someone to have a solution? Then maybe you say, yeah, we have a like engineer and the sales teams not work together. If you are good at people, tell them. Maybe you do not get that position, but he can refer you to another position is open. So don't just think the interview is only for that position. Many times people get hired because they find out you can be more beneficial or you can be better fit with another team, send you to another team, and maybe you like that position better too.
Cool. Last question. I'm skipping a few questions. Just one last question, mainly because no, sorry, not this one. This one. Yep.
Oh, I mentioned I actually like work on my cars, so I like to tear down the engine and then see because cloud computing have one thing I think is I kind of miss, even that joking about, is I don't touch the hardware anymore, because at the end of the day you do have the hardware, and when you look at the engineering, like automobile is very complex engineering, and so for me my favorite everyday's job is going to tear down the engine, don't have to put it back together. It's kind of joking, but it's like to continue to learn. So my favorite activity is going to learn something, and then when I learn I share. When I share, someone can benefit from it. That's probably higher purpose than just making money to earn a living. But of course, you need to live in order to go to your favorite everyday job.
Awesome.
That is so awesome. Now, I want to like give one good news also. So Holly is joining us. So she would be here in a minute or two. And now I want to like don't want to rush things, but this question like this was interesting, and I like the idea of not just talking technical question like what you would do, what would be your favorite everyday job. So yeah, I like that interesting thing. I have to also think on that. Now, what I would be doing in that time frame, probably not sure, but yeah, that is a good food for thought for me. Now, I want to like talk about one last conclusion here, kind of a thing. Like, what would be your top tips, top three tips if you have to give to anyone? Not just thinking from career perspective or not just cloud, but overall, like be successful in whatever you are doing. Maybe you're a marathon runner,
Hmm.
maybe you are into technical thing, maybe you are just writing something, whatever, what be your top three tips. And I feel like success criteria or success ingredients are same. Maybe the focus will be a little different in different fields, but basic qualifications remain same. So want to hear from you top three tips.
Yeah, for me, I learned number one, which is similar to Dong actually. Number one is like all of you, including me, we still have potential we don't have. Don't underestimate. So the tip number one is keep exploring, keep try things you haven't tried before. You don't have to like put all your money in something you don't know, but try something like learning business, or maybe learning how to play piano, because suddenly you will find out that you have the new creativity which will and make your life more enjoyable and make your career more fun to do. And because think about that, go to a party and there's a piano, you jump in and play some song, you say, oh, that's so cool. Suddenly you build better one. The second one is I learned the tip is like failure is part of growing, which I'm really afraid of failure. Remember, I say back then when I school, I scored 4 out of 100 because I haven't even learned all those math new questions. By the way, the reason why is the school is average school. I jumped to a more like top school, so they are jump grade. So on a grade 3, they are using grade 4 textbooks. I missed the whole grade of studying all those math. So I haven't seen the formula. How the heck I would know how to do it? So the thing is like failure is not failure unless you give up. You haven't give up, it's just a lesson. and and you can just set the comfort zone outside to try test the water. And like I don't know, audience, that got to be something you want to explore, but you are say I don't think I should. No, kill that don't think. Try it. Because like if I did not try to jump from that company to another company, I would not actually have a chance to do the cloud. If I do not have take the challenge to take the certificate, I won't have anything to share because I'm probably still have my some old t-shirt. So that's the part. The number three is very important. Also, is the improve your willpower. That's why I'm doing plank right now. It's not physical exercise, more mental. Give a very quick sharing. Before halfway you hit your limit, your mind already tell you to stop. Before you really close to the limit, your whole body shake. You're probably going to sweat a lot. Once you hit, you think it's the limit, you still have something left. How do you know your limit? When is the time to actually say stop? You have to explore. But what I'm trying to say that what stopped you is your willpower, your mind, before your physical body. And don't let it happen. Make your willpower stronger than the biggest strongest. And that is applied not just career, anything in your life, you'll be successful.
That's so interesting. Means yeah, means a lot of motivation, Sammy, and I really appreciate you waking up at 3 a.m. Though you say it is easy, I know it is not, at least for me. So we really appreciate you taking time, and probably you would have more LinkedIn followers now, and people are interested to reach out. And I like the openness you have, like you want to build community and help people. So really happy to see that commitment you have even after that much of time challenges, and you do a lot of things. So I really appreciate, and thank you so much for joining us into this session. We hope to have you more, say, have more sessions with you probably in the next cycles. We would have like a very focused session maybe in next cycles to see and learn more from you, maybe on the technical side view
Hmm.
of
Yeah.
you also. And now I have want to add Holly to the stream, and probably you already know Holly, and you
Oh
want to
yes,
say hi to her. And
definitely.
yeah, I'll add her here. Hi, Holly.
Hi,
Hello.
Holly.
Good morning, everybody. How are you?
Good
We
morning.
are
I
all
see.
good. Good to see you here.
Oh, I'm
I
so excited.
I'm
Holly
really
and I
excited.
in the same screen. I need to do a screen cap.
I was about to say, can I take a snap? You know what? Can I just do this really quick?
Sure.
Ush.
It's not every day that you get to hang out with one, two, three really smart people at this hour.
Oh,
Yes, I will.
good
There you
morning.
go.
Hmm.
That's
Good
going on
morning.
my LinkedIn post tomorrow morning.
Yes,
Oh,
and
Now,
wow.
I want to like be mindful of everyone's time here who are with us, because our time was around 10, 11 o'clock UK. So
Mhm.
would you everyone mind if we take a short 5 minute break, maybe like a bathroom break, or maybe we want to get up your coffee and then we start again with everyone, right? That would make sense. So people who have other commitment, if you want to drop off, feel free. We really appreciate. We would be putting this information onto YouTube, so you could reach out to us afterward also, and you would have something to listen to afterwards also. But if you want to stay along, we would be more than happy. Holly
Mhm.
is a tremendous coach. You have probably have browsed her profile and seen how she can help in career transition and career coaching. So if you stay with us, more than happy. But if you have other commitments, go ahead and take some time, take some rest, and we will see you in another session. I'll just put a 5 minute timer so that we can all be back in 5 minutes, and then we will have a good conversation with Holly. And thank you, Sammy, so much. I have so much things to think about now, and probably everyone is. And thank you for candid answer, because sometimes you know that, hey, these answers are cooked up. Sometimes you know that, okay, this person is trying to shy away from difficult topic. Like people do not talk about failures or how the challenges were, but that was honest talk, and I hope everyone has enjoyed and would have enriched a little bit more in their career journey. So thank you so much.
And
you.
Sammy, I look forward for your YouTube channel, frankly. And we
Yes,
have
Exactly,
Holly
yes, and
every.
I
exactly.
am going to learn from Holly. By the way, Holly,
Give
I'm a
me a
fan of
call
you.
with your
Yes,
YouTube channel. Call me.
yeah, yeah. I would say Holly. You are not talking about the Holly, right? Oh, I don't want you on the same
Okay,
screen
this
with
is
the Holly.
embarrassing, guys. This is really embarrassing. Anytime
Yeah.
someone says that.
No, no, no. I actually, how do I say that? I admire all those people have the passion and actually energy. So you inspire me to set the goal this year, going to produce some content. And
Mm.
the reason why I'm saying is like we probably have the same passion. We want to help people to be
Mm-hmm.
successful,
Yep.
and the channel is there to set it up to make people happy when they see their success in the career. That's more than the compensation. That at least for me, I say,
Mm-hmm.
hey, I
Yep.
want them to. Why not share? So
And you know what the cool thing is that people really follow your journey and they're actually interested to see what you have to say and they
Exactly.
look forward into seeing you every week.
yeah, there's another fun fact. I post three article on LinkedIn. One of the top three is my advanced networking exam. I say, why people love to see my failure? Turn around me. It is real because not just every story is success. I fail
Exactly.
exams.
Mhm.
I have my low time. I have my doubt. I have my. Oh, by the way, remember that interview? Pasau, I don't know. So instead, I have two offer. I have no offer from AWS because I was kind of out of story. But the whole thing is like interview can be failure but doesn't mean I'm a failure. That's another thing I learned and tell people. Do not consider your certification journey or your interview success or fail to define you, but use that as an opportunity to find the best next step. So, Holly, I already tell the audience something about how to start their cloud journey. Now you're going to finish them and make them going to get good jobs. So I will
Uh,
watch
Nice.
the video because it's pretty late, pretty early, say 5 in the morning. So I had to take a
I
nap.
feel like I work for Amazon all over again. Where Holly, I have a big fire. It's your turn now. You need to come in and put the fire away. This is a deja vu moment for me right here.
Mm.
Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. So thank you so much, Sammy, and we hope to catch up
Mhm.
with you again. I'll put a 5 minute timer. So Holly, grab your coffee, and then we are looking forward to the conversation. Thank you so
All right.
much.
Thank you.
I'm
Bye.
All right.
looking forward to rewatch what you just said, Sammy.
Okay. Thank
Yeah,
you.
we will post it. We'll
Yes.
post it soon.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
Yep. Be right back.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. You guys look so awake. How's the audio, by the way?
Yeah, it's good.
Okay.
It's
I'll be
good.
right.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
Okay. Be right back.
Yeah.
All right. I
Okay.
hope everyone is back, and I'll remove the screen timer. Now, let me add Parna to the screen share. And I was thankful Parna because of her we were able to talk to you. When she mentioned that Holly can be a guest, I thought why she would be joining because she is in US time zone, so busy, means so coveted to be a guest speaker in some session, and why a program like Besa, which is like 50 odd people joining, why she would be interested. But now then we have you here, so good to have you.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
I'm so
Uh,
glad to see you here, Holly, finally. And
You know,
and
I would get here unless my leg fall apart or something. I will always be here. It's just that it was so weird because my calendar is telling me it's on Sunday and not right
oh,
now. That
uh,
was why. And luckily, I was already here working, and something tells me I should check my email, so I did. And from the moment I saw the live link, I'm like, "Oh, let's go!"
nice.
thank
And
you,
it's just
thank you
good
so much.
impromptu, isn't it?
Exactly. Yep.
Like an Amazonian who is always ready
Yep.
to put up a fire.
Yeah. It's still there. It will always be there.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So thank you so much here, and let me officially welcome you to this thing. So Holly is an ex-Amazonian interview and corporate trainer, and probably you have seen her videos and maybe got in touch with the articles and other things. So I want to hear like who is Holly, just like a basic information apart from the legend.
You know, I teach people how to say, "Tell me about yourself" every single day. But when someone's asking me that same question, I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah.
goodness,
tough
really?
question to answer.
Do I have
Yeah.
to do this?" Um, so hello, everybody. If we're meeting just now for the first time, I have been in tech recruiting and interview training for about 25 years. But my longest employment has been with Amazon for 7 years, where I used to build data center around the world for B2B, Amazon Consumer, Alexa, as well as Kindle. But for the last 4 years, I had an amazing time being an entrepreneur as a CEO of my own coaching company. Love my YouTube channel and just putting myself and my content out there to help those who couldn't afford to hire a coach, especially right now during the recessions. Um, and doing these live just to make sure that I'm giving back to the community.
Absolutely
Nice.
wonderful. So I was actually, I want to add in, when I was actually interviewing for Amazon and I was looking for tips and suggestions. Obviously, Bessa was one of the chief sources of information, and then I found Holly on YouTube, and I went through so many of her videos, and which helped me so much in my interviews. So they are absolutely great and real mind openers. So thank you so much for that, Holly. And I definitely wanted you to share the tips with our audience as well, so even they can leverage those strengths.
I get
So it
embarrassed every
was
time someone says that. I run across a video. I'm like, oh no, that video, no. Yeah.
great,
Uh,
great.
I want to start with a very silly question. Maybe I'm too ignorant. What is this SPCC?
S. I'm sorry, it's funny. It is. It's Certified Senior Professional Certification. So it's a
Oh,
certification for career coaches.
Okay.
Um,
wonderful.
because I'm very ambitious, it's not that I don't know how to train or coach. I just want to get certified, like AWS certification. If you're a
Mm-hmm.
solution architect for 25 years, you want to go and get solution architect just so that you could say I have it. So
Yeah.
SPCC is a certification for coaches.
Nice. Interesting
Awesome.
No,
one.
no one has ever asked me that before.
Yeah, means people assume, and I sometimes like I'm too ignorant for real world. So I thought maybe it is something very complicated. So why not ask? Because sometimes people feel that, hey, why should I ask? Because it maybe people everyone knows, and I'm just the ignorant one. So I don't stop asking dumb questions. Maybe for a time I'm dumb, but now I'm much enlightened about SPCC. Otherwise, if I am not asked, I would never know.
Yeah, in the coaching
Exactly.
community, it's like having a doctorate degree or like
Oh,
an
Wow.
MBA or something. So it's different. Yeah.
amazing.
I don't know
And
why I did it. I just did it
no, means
because I
it
want it.
differentiate, doesn't it? Means it's a differentiator. I would say that. So I know you do a lot of thing, Holly, and I want to start with very basic thing that What is keeping you busy nowadays? Like what you are doing on a day-to-day basis?
You're asking me a very tough question here at this hour. um, prior to all the layoff, all the recession, I have been extremely busy with everything you can think of. Having hundreds of emails, usually around this time every single day. Now it's the same level of busy, but rather than having people into my coaching program, I'm not joking with you guys. I'm reviewing LinkedIn profile and resume for free. I've been doing that a lot. So I spend a lot of my time helping people that I know, people in my network. There's a lot of ex Amazonians, Facebook, Google. Basically, a lot of people who work with me in the past before are connecting with me, where I went from not doing any consultation call to jumping on a call with them now because I do care. There's just too many of them. I have a soft spot for single parents because I am myself. So every now and then, when I do have a little bandwidth, I do have free Zoom coaching call for them. I just did one with 50 people 2 weeks ago, and I put that on my LinkedIn as well. So that's what I've been doing a lot. So when you guys reach out to me to do this, I'm like, this piece of cake. I just did a 2-hour Zoom call with 50 people. Sure, I'll do this, right? So I'm very passionate to find ways on how I can truly give back to the community, um, because people are so anxious right now. I know sometimes it gets
Exactly.
into they're so anxious. If you tell them, hey, watch my 281 YouTube video, they will shut down. Like, nobody wants to
True.
do that because they have bills to pay at the end of the day. So I spend a lot of my time kind of coaching them and mentoring them on the very quiet LinkedIn or social media background.
Interesting. Now, so that it's good to hear that the passion and drive to help community, because yeah, it's a tough time. I won't deny it. It's been like, and it's like a tunnel, and any light you see on the end of the tunnel is always welcoming. So really
Mhm.
appreciate you doing it. And probably you have seen a lot of stories of transformation and all. So we would go into that. But like from a recruiter perspective, I have a first question to start with, that how the recruitment process looks for these FANG companies, where you have very insight on all other platforms. So I want to hear about it, that how this process actually looks like.
Well, funny that you ask. I talk about this a lot on my work and my YouTube channel and my clients as well. Um, I always tell them that one form or another, the process is very, very similar with all the thing, which is, the phone interview, the on-site, and so on and so forth. The one thing that really differentiate is raising the bar when you're interviewing for Fang, because
Mm-hmm.
Fang are very specific, right? They look for talents that come from a wide breadth of knowledges. I talk a lot about scopes, having the right scope and scale. And a lot of people, believe it or not, guys, they get lost when I say, "What I want to learn more about your scope and scale. What exactly have you done?" And they're all over the place. So if you want to land a job with Fang, you have to be very clear, very specific on what you have built, relating to solution architect and tech here, even for
Mm-hmm.
non-tech. And I only talk about one topic, and you guys are going to laugh because you're Amazonian. Amazon. I focus so much on the Amazon process and the Amazon bar and the Amazon standard, which is why my YouTube is all about Amazon. Because if you can reach the bar of providing specific execution of the problem that you saw very clearly and how you have done it, people will love you. Interviewers at Google, at Meta, at Apple, at startup, everyone is. So I set that bar very high. I don't talk too much about the Amazon leadership principle because if your answer is good, right, you will hit most of all the leadership principle because you will be able to deliver result with flying colors. So what is the process of working for FANG companies? I'm not being biased, guys. By the way, Amazon is not paying me to do this, but I would say follow the Amazon interview process to a T. And I preach this for the last 4 years. It works like flying colors. It works for not just like mid-level people, but there's a lot of VP who came
Mm-hmm.
to me and watched my how I study the STAR method. This is not just any STAR method, right? Because people can take your content and translate it to whatever they want, but truly be intentional in the type of ways that you communicate and don't waste time. because if you're able to demonstrate that, all the employers would love you. And that's why I really admire the entire process at Amazon down to the debrief, where you only have about 30-second, a minute. I teach the 1 minute rule, by the way, any kind of answer. It's true. You have about 1 minute. 1 minute is 8 to 10 sentences, by the way. Did you guys know that? When you talk for
No.
1 minute, it's 8 to 10 sentences. It's a lot of sentence,
Okay,
right? It
Wow.
is.
that's insightful. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. I talk about that, and everyone's like, "Oh, well, she's crazy. She doesn't know what she's talking about." But you know what, guys? Almost 8,000 people get a job because of that. Um, yeah, we're not talking about answering any of your questions in 1 minute. I'm talking about bouncing back and forth, right? So the entire answer should be about 8 minutes or 10 minutes, but you have to cut it short. You need to have a process. People think that I'm just gonna go study and the cheat sheet, the interview question. I'm gonna get a job at Google and Amazon, all this company. That's great. But what exactly is your answer? How do you position your answer if you're talking to a higher level person, your peers, or your future managers, right? So they don't think about that stuff. I would say be very intentional in the way you deliver your example, very specifically, and always be prepared for those probing questions. And people don't think about that either. So I set people up to um, you guys are gonna laugh because I know you're hiring managers, right? How you do interview. The table has turned. I set you guys up so that when you give an answer, you already know what the probing question is because you're setting the interviewers up. You should always know what's coming. That's what I mean by being
But
very
there's a lot of
intentional.
preparation, isn't it? I guess you need to
Yeah.
start preparing the minute you apply. I don't think you
Yes.
can. You can, yeah, right?
I mean, in a matter of fact, before you apply for a job, you should be ready because things go
Exactly.
really fast, right? A lot of people are like, well, Holly, I don't want to prepare for an interview. I just want you to help me land a job interview. I'm
Mhm.
like, you're not ready. You can't even answer very briefly. What do you want to do next? There's no way you can pass an interview. So there are times that I feel like I'm going back and forth because people are so anxious right now.
Is there any
Get it.
common traits that you see amongst people who have been successful in the Mang companies? Do you see any sort of trait that's demonstrated by most of them?
I see the trend to be very similar across the board. Um, it's funny because a lot of people they come to me and I hear what they're struggling with, and they're all the same. They're the same, even if you are a new graduate, if you are a VP or an SVP, it's really the same, right? Just different levels in the career stage. But at the end of the day, their preparation is also very much the same. I know I'm sounding really crazy right now. I'm comparing apples and oranges, new grad and an executive or leadership. It's really the same kind of struggle, right? I want to work for Amazon. I don't know how to be, it's a solution architect. How am I supposed to do that? It's the same thing. You have to do your homework. You have to be prepared. What kind of skills are you bringing on the table? What have you done to have this positions? What do you know about the project that you're getting yourself into? A lot of people, I think, are so stuck with I want a job, but they forget
Mhm.
how am I going to get the job and be prepared. Especially right
Right.
now, I don't mean to sound rude, guys. It's people are so anxious they don't think about doing the work. It's driving me crazy. I'm
Yeah,
being a little bit raw here. I feel like this is the YouTube channel. It's coming back. Okay, it's coming
not at
back
all.
now. I know.
That's a good thing. Yeah, I mean, so that preparation is one of the key aspect of anything you do, and especially you can't like just walk in and show that, hey, I would pass with everything, I know everything. Yes, you know, but that's not they're interviewing for. They're interviewing for a specific thing, and that's why the question may be around and things will be based on that. So yeah, I agree on that. Now I want to take a step back here, Holly, and understand like how that the things come. So let's say a job position open up, somebody applies, so first thing comes is like CV shortlisting. So how can a candidate can outshine their other profile, because you get hundreds of
Mhm.
CVs, so
Yep.
how you do the recruitment? So this is one part of the question. So how candidate can outshine their profile, and before that, like what is the way the process works for CV shortlisting? So these are the two questions somehow related.
Okay, guys, this is not a trick. This is the same thing that I share with my pay client. Okay, listen, I know this is not any secret sauce. Um, The one thing when I start coaching now is very different on how I coach before the recessions, before 2020, put it that way. If I look at your LinkedIn profile and your resume, it should be almost duplicating each other. Back then, it should be very different, right? Your resume is a lot more detailed. It hits all the buzzword or the algorithm. In recruiting, we call them, oh my God, what do we call them? Let's just say buzzword or keywords to come up
Keywords,
so you
yeah.
can get found.
Keywords.
And then your LinkedIn is very concise. Now because you're competing with what, let's just say a couple thousand, just to be polite, rather than a million people for each job that you're interested in. So not only do you have those key buzzword, so if you don't know what key buzzword in, Google it. If you go to Google and put solution architect as an example, it'll give you all those buzzword, right? Infrastructures, cloud, hybrid, all that stuff. Aside from that, every single one of your bullets are key component. It's in your bullet. I did a talk for AWS Women in Tech last year, and this is similar to what I said is your bullet should be every single one of your bullets should be an answer to every interview questions. In fact, every single one of them should be what is the most innovative thing you've done? How have you done it? If you ask yourself those questions, right? And you look at your own bullet and you don't have it, that's a big problem. Because if I look at someone's LinkedIn profile, I can tell what they have done, what was the result, and I can feel uh, the depth of their environment. If you don't know what their environment is, if you work for a company that I've never even heard of, then obviously I'm going to go with someone that is an ex, I don't know, Apple, because I know
Hmm.
Apple, right? Apple is a big company.
Right.
So you better boost up I talk about branding for this entire year so far. Every single week I talk about branding. I have tutorial about branding as well on LinkedIn and resume specifically about this topic because your bullets and the impression that it's getting from your brand have to feel like you. So if you are a solution architect or you want to be a solution architect and you don't have enough tech experience yet, great. There's nothing wrong with that. What have you been doing? Are you taking certifications? When is that certification due? Do you have any courses or training somewhere else? Where else are you going to gain those skills? Because all of that's going on your LinkedIn and your resume, by the way, right? Because if
Right.
not, we have Amazonians here in the house and they're evaluating so many people. Why should they spend their time on you? Now, outside of that, employers are never looking for 100% fit. They're looking for people who are hungry and have the right aptitude. I know I sound very crazy, but when I look at a branding, it's so obvious for me if someone is putting in the heart and soul in building their career. I'm interested into talking to those people than the ones who have flying color. They're solution architect for all the startups and they built all this great things. So if you don't have that technical background, don't feel like you can compete with a lot of people who does. I don't know if the people who are watching right now follow just certification. I know that you guys talk a lot about that. Um, Partner, I just have a thumb up on one of your recent posts on LinkedIn about certification training that you just got. I follow Victoria. Victoria was one of my former member as well, and she also talked a lot about free courses for AWS solution architect. So, what exactly are you doing to gain those experiences? And you can talk about them. If you don't have the experience, because I see a lot of folks going back getting certifications right now, they can be software engineer and they're shifting career, right? They can be product program manager and they're shipping into tech because SA and anything that has to do with cloud and security are the number one high demand skills right now. So how do you be shortlisted in the process on your CV and your overall branding? You have to demonstrate what you have done into building that portfolio, and you have those experiences. You have to be very clear what was some of the stuff that you have done. Okay, when I say clear, if you don't know what I mean by that, go take a look at my LinkedIn profile. I'm very to the point, right? Like at Amazon, I talk about what did I talk about? My God, it's been so long. What is it? 5 years ago, the last time I was at Amazon, I said, I believe I said I built. I think I said I hired 350 people a year for Alexa within the first 6 months um,
Wow.
for Austin, Madrid, and something like that. Just one line, right? Just one line. So for someone who doesn't know me at all, who wants to hire someone with a recruiting background or an interview training, when they drop into my LinkedIn, I want them to know everything about me and everything that I've done. That's your credential. So in your case, what is your background? What have you done? Don't waste your time. I see so many people who have the entire paragraph for each bullet, one sentence, or 2 sentences. That's it in every single bullet on your resume and on your LinkedIn. So people can know what you've done. That's it. It's very basic, right? Don't
Yeah.
overthink it.
So I actually have a question, like how much is too much? Like people think like your resume should not go beyond 2 pages. Some say three.
That is
So
true.
and if the over the years as you go from mid to senior, obviously your experience keeps on increasing, and
Mhm.
people really don't have the time to go through all that content. So how do you really shorten that up? That's a question I think most people would have. How I remember mine was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
15 pages long, and somebody
Oh
told
my
me,
goodness.
Yeah,
I mean, the
should be a
reason
novel.
the reason why is that employers do scan through your credential. If it gets too much, too overwhelming, they won't even want to look at it. The
Mhm.
right,
way how interviewers interview, and please do jump in and correct me if this doesn't make sense to the both of you guys. A lot of the times they don't even look at resume because they want that human interaction with you guys when you're interviewing. The
right,
resume is good enough just to get you the job. The resume is also good that as you're interviewing, you can just print out your resume or have it on your monitor so you know what to respond to and kind of remind yourself the stuff that you've done. That's why if you think about what you have done, I coach folks to focus on the most recent 10 years and remove everything before that.
okay,
Because if you're going to put your whole life on there, it's going to go to 20 pages, right?
right,
Another thing is biases, unconscious biases, which is something that I used to train at Amazon, by the way, unconscious biases among all the other courses, because you don't want people to unconsciously think about, oh my God, you have your college degree in what is it, 1970? You don't want that. So well, if you remove a lot of the verbiage, the word, keeping your work history about maximum 10 years and nothing younger than that, or I should say older than that, because your first job should be, it could, if you are a principal or someone at that level, right? I'm talking about the 10-year
right,
gap. Your first job is, I'm a senior software engineer. Well, Holly, well, the employer doesn't know that I've done all of this. I don't think they care. I don't think they care that you start your
Exactly.
career as a technical support. Let's go ahead and move you up here, right?
right,
Let's move you up because they want to see most recently the last 5 years what they really care about. 10 years is really the max. But if you have so much to talk about, let's just say if you're an Amazonian, you've been at Amazon for 8 years, you could probably have 2 pages to talk about one project because they're doing so much execution. Like every month,
true,
something is launching, something's going live. But if you're working for other employer, just focus on the most recent 10 years, cut out all the bluff, and just focus on result, 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 and start working backward. How did you achieve those results in 2 sentences in each and every bullet? Each one of your employers should not be more than 6 bullets. So if you guys do the math, you have a lot of space in 2 pages.
true. So I had a mentor who had reviewed my resume. So that was the first thing they said, Holly, just like yours, that you've just mentioned what you've done, but you haven't mentioned the result. So
Exactly.
Mhm.
yeah. So she reprimanded me on that, that you have to mention the result. So I coded something. That's not really an achievement. What is it? Did you create some great product? How many users did it have? How many downloads did that have? Those kind of data, I think that really hits right the nail. You need to put in the data in your resume. So yeah,
Yep.
that's really
Yep.
insightful. So I have one
And
more question, Holly, for you. Like
okay.
in tech, how important is the soft skills section? So many of us have put in the section where we put in our behavioral skills. Is that also important, and how important is that for in a tech job?
That's really interesting. That's a really good question. For what I've seen and for all the hiring managers I have I work for that I've supported throughout my entire career, I have never seen a hiring manager that really care about the behavioral part. Part, you must be referring to soft skills, right?
Yeah,
Not
right,
not competency, but soft skill. Yeah,
right,
and I try to and back to the thing about keeping your resume to 2 pages and also keeping your memory, right? No one's going to ask you, are you a good communicator? How do you do that? But they're asking you the interview questions. Tell me about time that you have a poor customer feedback or negative
Exactly.
customer. That's different. But outside of that, I would say cut all that stuff. I'm a God. What I see on resume so often. Um, excellent communicator. No, they don't
Exactly.
care.
I
They
was
will know
about
you're
to
an
say
excellent
that.
communicator the moment you answer the question, right? They will figure you out. You don't have to tell
Yeah.
them. So save your
Right.
energy. Focus on tech.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
means problem solver. Yeah, we know that. That's why we are hiring. Yeah, but how does it you prove you are problem solver? Means I don't get by just the word problem solver. So yeah, I agree on that. So I resonate to what you said, Holly. Like when I am scanning for resumes, I check for, hey, what are the last two company candidate went through. If it is like 5 years tenure, it gives me idea. And obviously technology changes so fast that I can't rely on your 10-year back experience as a technical person because that has been become outdated as of now. I agree on that.
Yeah. I mean, I think even right now, more so than ever, I think a lot of people are trying to impress employers or the recruiters. So they put um, even like not just problem, so excellent troubleshooter. I'm like, wow, those are fancy words I've never seen before on resume these days. Just focus on the meat. I talk a lot about like the meat and the content of your background. Focus on that because the interviewer, that's all they care about. They don't care about anything else.
Makes sense. Now, I have one question taking a step back, Holly. Like most of the time, people send their resume for a profile and it goes into a black hole, right? No response. Hey, I'm waiting, nothing happening. What they can do in that case?
Well, funny that you ask. I would say first, the rule number one is even before the layoff is recruiters are going to hate me for saying this. I don't coach people to apply to jobs. I never coach people to apply for job. Exactly what you just say, Ashish. You will go into a black hole because everyone is doing the same thing. I
Exactly.
like to teach people to think outside of the box a little bit rather than just apply like everyone else. Let's just say I want to work for Parna's org. I want to be in training and development, whatever she's doing. So easy, guys. Go to LinkedIn, just put training and development manager. What is it? You're already a manager? Great. Director. Look for a director. There goes your hiring manager, right? You don't know who the hiring manager is? Don't worry about it. What location you want to work at? India? Great. Just put India on it and it'll pop up, right?
Exactly.
Amazon and all the other employers really big, but don't waste your time in just applying to job because everyone is doing it. The recruiters and hiring managers are so overwhelmed. They don't want to review 1,000 people for one job. They want to review maybe 10 best candidate and the position will be closed very quickly. So your choice is if you reach out to the hiring managers directly, they already know you. So all they have to do is ping their recruiter and say, hey, wow, this person they reach out to me and they actually look pretty good. Can you schedule an informational call or a phone interview? That's it. That's it. It's done. Okay. That's how simple it is. A lot of people are afraid to reach out to hiring managers directly.
Hmm.
But if you're afraid to do that, how on earth are you going to pass a phone interview?
Exactly.
Right.
It's the
Yeah.
same thing. It's the same theory, right?
Right.
I also teach people because, like I've mentioned earlier, they're so anxious right now. I don't even teach them. I don't teach them to message hiring managers. I teach them to put a 30-minute video clip. Remember,
Hmm.
guys,
Mm.
if you want to talk for a minute, that's about 10 sentences. I'm asking you to put 3 to 5 sentences. That's a lot of words. Quick introductions. Why are you reaching out to the hiring managers? Why are you interested in his or her position? You're done. A short clip video. By the way, put it on YouTube, unlist it. No one can see it. That's
That's a
it.
great tip.
And your
Yeah.
job is done.
So
Right. And then
I want to
you'll
know, Holly.
oh, go ahead.
Sorry, I'm just yeah. So how important is the referral part in this? People who get a referral tend to be ahead of the line, right? So, what are the chances of people who don't really have a referral? Do they really stand a chance, especially in big tech companies?
Yes, and this is from personal experience for the last 4 years running my own business. None of my, I call them member, but they're really client in my VIP coaching. They don't know anyone at Amazon. Specifically, we're talking about Amazon. It's a big company, but not everyone had worked for Amazon before, right? That is why if you don't know anyone to refer you into the employer of your choice, you gotta start networking because right now everybody's on LinkedIn. If you're a tech person,
Absolutely.
if you're a non-tech person, but you work for a tech company or want to work for a tech company, you gotta have your LinkedIn. How you just can't connect with people without it. The one thing that a lot of the hiring managers and recruiters pay attention to is how many connection you have. That is true. That's a fact. You need to have at the bare minimum 500 plus because it will show on your profile. It
Really?
says 500
Okay.
plus. Yeah, it does. Um, if you have less than 500, it's just that recruiters are always curious to know. I say that because I'm one of them, and that's how I teach my team as well. They want to know who you know, right? If you
Right.
open your LinkedIn right now, on the far right hand column, it will say this person view Holly Lee and all these
Mm,
people on Amazon. So if you have no connections, your profile is completely empty. So the odds of them responding to you and someone else that's blowing up on LinkedIn is very slim. Because with that profile, you can start networking and commenting on things and follow like these folks here right now. You want to be a trainer for Amazon, follow them and comment on their things because it will show up on their feed and everyone who follow them can see your name popping up. So when people hear and see the same name 5 times, 10 times, 20 times,
right.
like, oh yes, I know that person, right? So
Right.
that's what I mean by knowing how to work the networking system within LinkedIn. This is the time to do it, if not any time at all.
Absolutely.
Does that answer your question?
Interesting.
Yes,
Yeah, it's
definitely,
completely
definitely.
means that's enlightening. Now, sometime like for overseas job, there is a challenge, and sometime people refer through some hiring agencies or maybe through some agents. So, does it work for these FANG companies?
Well, a lot of people use hiring agencies and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I think they still have to take ownership and responsibility on how they're going after the position they want, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
especially with agencies and all that, they're not in like inside Amazon as an example, so they don't have the full scope. So it's really important for just job seekers. I don't like to do the word job seeker. I feel I'm talking about the white coat and the blue coat doctors and nurses. I'm not fancy with vocabulary right now at 3 o'clock in the morning my time, so forgive me, guys. Um, but you need to build that credibility with yourself and do yourself a favor and do your homework and not rely on agency, even internal people who are setting you up for the position that you want. You need to do all your homework about the org, the company, the hiring managers, everything. More so than ever because there's so many people going after the same role right now. I would do that.
True.
Makes sense. And let's say you got your shortlisting, you have first round of interview. How you prepare for the next thing? Because obviously you have to raise the bar with everything. You already exhausted with first round. Now second round is coming up. You are anxious. What is the tip for the second round?
Well, that's giving you some more pressure, my friend, than the
Exactly.
first round, right? I know you guys don't want to hear that, but that is the truth. Um, I always tell people that before you even start the interview process, you have to be interview ready, okay? Because the first round is a technical phone screen, and oftentimes you will have the second technical phone screen. If not, you will have a short on-site loop or virtual loop, right?
Mhm.
And very common because rather than interviewing with 4 or 5 people in one day, they split into two, or sometimes it's lacking information. You'll come back to interview with one or two more. So if I were you guys, from the moment you start interviewing with any employer, you have to know and create. And I talk about 20 different stories. I know it sounds really vague. Even if you're interviewing for tech, you still need 20 different stories, right? For instance, if someone asks, what is the most challenging thing you have ever done, or what is the most most difficult problem you've ever solved? If you're a tech, obviously, technical problem you've ever solved, right? But if you're,
Right.
let's just say, a product person transitioning into tech, talk about the product. So you have to think about it really, really quickly because that question can go in your initial phone screen, your on-site, or like a third on-site, fifth on-site. So it's the same thing. I think it's depending on the interviewer, the type of question is really the same thing, and they just kind of recycle. So I know that's kind of like a trick question for you guys. That's why you have to be prepared for any questions that's being thrown at you and not just think about this is a phone screen, Holly. I'm going to work with you and hire you as a coach. When I get to the onsite, I'm like, wait, that may be a little bit too late. Can you pass the phone screen when you haven't done anything right now? You don't even
Right.
you can't even answer basic question right now.
So can there be a scenario where you may not have an experience about the question they asked? Does it go against you if you say that, sorry, I didn't have that experience? Does
Mhm.
it go against you?
No, I like as an interviewer myself, I actually love that. I would rather you not waste my time and try to make things up because interviewers are smart, especially other employers are going to hate me for saying this, especially Amazonians, because they can call out your buff really fast. So do them a favor and say, I'm so sorry. I haven't done this before. I haven't built this before. But can I give you a different example like this? What is it? You
Okay.
just can't tell people, I don't have the experience, period, right? Great. You don't have the experience. They will thank you. So let's move on. What else can we talk about? What else can I share about my background that maybe could be relevant to the question?
Yeah, that's a great tip.
Mhm.
Get your point. Now, another thing happens, sorry, like, hey, I applied for a job, I got the interview. Now, no messages. Though it doesn't happen with Amazon and other companies, they are very proactive. But yeah, for others, like, hey, I applied and I'm waiting. I'm anxious. What I should do now? Should I reach out to recruiter? Should I see what happened, or should I wait, or would it show I'm impatient? How
I'm
how to handle
impatient.
that? Yeah.
No, you're not impatient at all. That's like the number one questions right now. I would say usually when you start the interview process, at least once a week, you will always want to follow up with your recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have the name of the person who phone interview you or interview you, most likely the hiring managers, do not stalk them, but uh, gently send them a message. That's why I talk about LinkedIn so much. LinkedIn or between LinkedIn, email, recruiters also do text messagings, by the way, guys. Yes, we do because they're really
Okay.
busy. It actually makes you stand out from all the other people. I talk a
Yeah.
lot about thinking outside of the box. Sometimes they're really busy. Not that they're being rude and ignore you. They're really busy. For you, you think that, oh my God, it's been 3 weeks. I haven't heard back. There's no feedback. But for the recruiter or hiring manager, think, oh my God, I'm trying to put the fire with, oh shoot, it's already a month. But for them, it felt like it's just an hour ago, right? So I would say reach out to them intentionally once a week. They could also be waiting for rec to get approved. I talk a lot about that on my channel as well. I think the video
Mm-hmm.
is called offer pause and also offer rescinded. There's a lot of reasons, right? But I would say don't get freaked out. If you've made it to the phone screen on the onsite, that means you've done really well. Okay. So
Exactly.
for any reason, if the position is paused or the record's on hold or anything like that, they will always remember you. That's any employer. So you make sure that you stay connected with them and they're not going to ignore you completely, but you need to keep the momentum because people are really busy right now. There's a high volume of candidates.
True.
Yeah, on the same line, like, hey, okay, I maybe I did not got selected for this job. How I leverage that recruiter as my advantage? How I keep connected with her instead of stalking her? Hey, do you have any job for me? What else I could do so that she would remember that okay, Ashish could be a good candidate for this thing because obviously they are also looking for candidates. So how I could build that relationship directly with the recruiter?
Well, I can tell you this though. I've been a recruiter for a lot of time in my life, and the people I've hired at Amazon, people that I've supported, became really good friends to me. That is because you need to build relationship. Recruiters are your best friend, whether you like it or not. You don't have a choice because that recruiter, if they leave Amazon, they go to Tesla. Okay, that's still your best friend at
Exactly.
Tesla now, right? You just have to maintain great relation. Don't be fake. Be real, right? Get to know people. And earlier on, I talk about following people, right? Like if I'm really interested in you, I believe your background and what you're doing is excited. We have a common interest like for the audience right here, I love training and development. I love it to death, right? And building community, I will follow you. So when people know that you follow them, and among all the other people who keep on stalking the same recruiters, hey, a job, do you have a job for me? Or I want to follow up. No, they will eventually fade away. But if you come in and say, wow, congratulations on your new job offer, and your recruiter will be really shocked that you still maintain that relationship with them and follow them, right? So even if you don't meet the bar at, let's just say Amazon and they went to like Google, they will still know you because people change, time change. You may have grown like 6 months later or a year later after you have failed your interview, assuming that is the case, because I read all of your messages. I know that is the case, right? And they would actually take an effort and jump on the phone and coach you through all that. Now, not only do you have a best friend as a recruiter, you also get free advices from them, because at the end of the day, the recruiters get to keep their job because they have hired you. I don't think they
I
want me
get
to
your
say
point.
that.
I get your
Absolutely.
point. I mean, I never thought from that
Yeah,
angle.
right?
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah,
You
that's
are the
their
supply to the
KPI, I would
recruiter.
say.
You are the supply.
I get it fine. Now,
So I have an
another.
interesting
Go
question.
ahead,
Can
go
I
ahead,
go?
Parna.
Ashish?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
So,
You guys are on
so
fire at this time.
there are roles where the salary or the budget is not mentioned, and people are hesitant whether they should apply for it and at what stage they should talk about or ask about the salary. Is it rude for people to ask it at stage one before going, say, at the phone round itself? What do you think about that?
That's a good question. That's a really good question. It's a catch 22 for me. Number one, if you already work for a FANG company, okay? Um, by the way, Levels FYI, wink wink, has everything on there with all the FANG companies and all the tech positions, even non-tech like product and program. It's Levels FYI. I set that on my salary playlist. It tells you exactly how to get there. If you're already at a FANG company, let's just say, because Google and Facebook, those two companies have a reputation to pay a lot on base salary, right? And then Amazon has a reputation on execution and bias for action. So the question you got to ask yourself before you negotiate is, what do you want? Why do you want to join Amazon versus Google and make more money? Everybody knows that this is not anything secretive, right? And if I'm already at a FANG company, if I know that I'm interviewing, even like Microsoft, they pay less, right? Hi, Microsoft. I'm sorry for saying that, but that is the truth, Microsoft, right? If and then why do you want to, is it work-life balance? Why do you want to go specifically to those company? So from fang to fang, the recruiter is going to ask you right off the bat, because it helped us to put your offer together to know, am I going to waste your time? Am I going to look bad in front of the my hiring manager right here, and we can't afford you, and you make 100,000 more than our offer? That's embarrassing. That's why your recruiter asks you upfront, what is your salary expectation? But if you're already at the fang, I would share with the fame. I said, okay, I would
Hmm.
share a little bit if you want to make more or a lateral move. Maybe the ABC company can't afford you. They can't afford you. They can't. Okay. If you have that relationship with the recruiter, you can give them like a little bit your expectation, but don't give them in detail every single thing. But ultimately, I want to focus at the end of the interview, because if everyone gives me a thumbs up, it's
Hmm.
giving me more leverage
Right.
to negotiate. So, in the very beginning, for instance, if you're asking me, Holly, what is your comp expectations? I'll give you my expectation of what I want to make, but I'm not giving you any detail, because I know I've done all my research. I know what the band is and I know what the ranges are, right? Because I'm in
Hmm.
recruiting, guys. Don't be like me, okay? But at the very end of the interview, from the moment I know that you want to make me an offer, do not email, guys. A lot of people email back and forth. Like, why are you guys emailing back and forth to negotiate? Jump on the phone with your recruiters, because you want to hear it on their voice. You can hear if they can afford you. Are they going to go through exceptions for? Yes, they can, by the way. Amazon doesn't want to hear that, but yes, they can. Okay. So make them fight for you. The hiring manager will fight for you, because if you are a glowing candidate, you know how hard it is for them to find you right now when 10,000 people are going through the same job. They don't want to go through all that again. It's a lot of
Yeah.
work
Mm,
for them. So they
Lot of
do
get your
want to
effort
point.
close you out.
to go through the loops for them as well.
Yep.
Exactly. Now,
I
I
think
want to
Prasad wants to
extend
jump
on.
in right now. He has something to say. Look at that smile. He said, yes, that's right.
So yeah, Prasad has been waiting for to jump in. So yeah, here he is. I have one question, Prasad, before I let you ask. Now, same question, Holly. Like, can I get some feedback from recruiter? Which is like, I don't know why you didn't select me. How receptive recruiters are in this case, or what could I do to frame that question differently so I get something out of it? I'm curious why I failed. I thought I am the flying colors. I have everything which you wanted, but I failed. So what can I do in that case?
You know, this conversation is going to make recruiters not like me after they see this. This is like secret 101. Um, Well, and this is exactly what I train recruiters as well, is to not provide feedback because there's a lot of gray areas, right? Because we want to be a good person. We want to help you guys. Because if we don't give you feedback, you don't know what to improve or work on, and you're just going to keep on failing over and over and over again. But here's the thing, I personally have given feedback because I care. I'm very obsessed with my candidates. But when you give feedback, and let's just say someone came from MIT, right? The Harvard of the world, and they have like 8 years experience. They are like the number one performer at Facebook, and they bomb the AWS interview, and their butt hurt. And here comes me giving them a feedback. You know, if I were you, I would focus on system design, your object oriented analysis. And they're like, what the hell is this person telling me? I don't know how to design. I have no architectural background. And guess what? That person, true story, guys, all of you guys who's listening, that is why your recruiter don't give you feedback. They escalated me to my manager, and we laughed about it. We actually all sat in the table with my team. We laughed about it. And my manager says, Holly, what did you do? Look at this feedback. Look at this negative candidate feedback about you. I'm like, all I did was I was being really honest. I tell them because I don't want to waste their time. They bombed 2 times already. I don't want to see them keep on bombing, right? Look at the glowing background, the MIT and the Harvard in the world. They can't pass an Amazon interview, right? It is not just about technical experiences, guys. It's about how they deliver the answer. It was so long-winded. They didn't go back. They didn't check their code. They didn't do the quality assurance like they should. That's why they didn't get the job. There's like a lot of different reasons. But people do not want to hear feedback. That's the truth. They say they do, but when they do,
Yeah.
I don't I don't know. Maybe it's just if I know that if you ask other recruiters, they will probably feel the same way. But if you come to me and say, "Hey, Holly, by the way, your YouTube channel, you need a voice coach." Someone actually told me that, by the way. Somebody did.
Wow.
They did. Like, well, I love your content, but have you thought of hiring a voice coach? And I'm like, so you're trying to tell me to change myself? I can't. I don't know how to change myself. So I think like for the tech folks and for the engineer is a way to deliver the answer. That's how they have done. That's the environment they're in, and they're not aware of that. So when they have a complete stranger who's not even technical like me to tell
Mhm.
them and kind of they feel like put them in their place, they get butthurt. And the biggest reason here is making great hiring decisions. By the way, I love training that class to death. That is a legal issue. You don't want to step over your boundary. You
I
don't.
get your
The
point.
best thing to do is to be vague because when you give people too much information, you know they're going to write it down. Especially when you give feedback in email. No, no.
No.
They can come back, and I don't like to use the word sue you on it. They will sue the company for it because, again, I'm an MIT. You're telling me I can't code, right? And I have 8
Yeah.
years of experience. And I'm sorry, I can't pass a level 5 at Amazon. I have 8 years experience. They're not gonna like that.
Yeah.
Feedback
People
is
want to
good,
hear it, but
but
not
yeah, not
receptive
everyone
of
can
it.
handle it. Yep.
It's an art to
Exactly.
take good feedback.
But you can tell me I need a voice coach. I've been told twice.
No.
Not at all. You're
you
perfect. You
you
sound
can you can be my voice coach, Holly. I would be happy for that.
In
mine
fact,
too.
a couple of my clients, the principal level says, Holly, after working with you, I don't know if I want to work for Amazon. Are they this tense? I'm like, you think I'm tense? There's one of me. If you want to work for Amazon, when you're talking about 100,000 people that you'd be working with across the world, this is just one of me. People actually change their mind after they have worked with me, right? True story.
No, I can imagine that. I can imagine that. So, like, uh, here is my question. Like, we talked about people who is already working for a FANG and then switching between FANGs, and it might get difficult, but probably it is easier path for them. But like, uh, my story, like, when I passed out of college, I interviewed with Amazon and Microsoft, and I got rejected. And then I was able to get in tier 2 companies, and I was very happy there. You know, and even few of my friends went on to work for other big FANG companies. I was like, no, those companies are not for me. I am
Mhm.
happy with my tier 2 companies. I'm not going to apply for big companies because they are way out of my league. But at some point in career, someone referred to me, and I was able to get through the interview. I was not going to apply for it, but somehow one person convinced me that you should, and it turned out to be great. So my question is that if someone is in that, is happy with where they are without exploring their potential, that they can do better and get into FANG companies for whatever reasons, like just for the experience or for money or whatever, How do they break that loop, get into that? How do they realize their potential, that like clearing fan company is not something it's out of, it's only for the top 1% of the world, anyone can become there?
You know, how you feel right now, you missed the conversation from about half an hour ago where I compare new graduates to like leadership executive. They're all the same. All the same. The executive's going to hate me, especially the one who worked with me before, because I tell them the same thing. Even executive and principal level at Facebook, Meta, and they want to work for AWS, true story, or Apple. I know you guys are looking at me like I'm crazy right now. True story, by the way. Apple wanted to go to AWS. Holly, I feel like this is out of my lead. I heard a lot of horror story of how fast paced Amazon works, and I'm really scared. I don't know if I'm ready. I don't know if I can do self doubt, right? So they kind of talk themselves out of it rather than focusing on, you know what, I'm badass. I got a degree, from whatever school. You don't even have to be elite school or top tier because, like, that's why I talk about Amazon so much because the company doesn't really care where you got your education from. It's more about, are you willing to learn? Are you smart enough to provide an answer where you're going to get the job because you're making the employer feel comfortable that you're not going to waste the hiring manager's time in holding your hand, but you'll figure it out on your own. So the ability to be hungry and having the aptitude to learn is what's going to help you guys grow, right? To answer your question, everybody have self-doubt. I have self-doubt. You know how long for me to have a YouTube channel? I sat there for a year. I watched all the YouTuber blew up YouTube. I should have blown up YouTube myself, but nope. I sat back and I watched them. And I didn't even have the guts to do it. Even when I did it, I was so shy and embarrassed. It's very embarrassing. And I left them there because I want to remember my mistakes so I can be better. So if you have self doubt, don't try to be perfect and apply to one of your dream fame company. Just do it. What's it going to do? Not get the job? Great. Now go back and prepare better so you can get the job the next time. But I can tell you guys this though, in secret, it doesn't matter what company you work for. If you truly are someone who are eager and highly, highly ambitious, Amazon is really the only employer site because I work for all of them that can help you grow in your career. Because when I was at Google, I took I took a pay cut to go from Google to Amazon because I was so hungry and I can't sit still. I want my brain to exercise because my brain is missing something. And I didn't even think I would get hired at Amazon because of the stories that I heard how hard it is and people don't last there and how fast they move. So for me, I choose to fight. I told myself that, you know what? I already work for one of the best companies in the world, and that's Google. I'm so spoiled here. I don't want to be spoiled. I want to learn. I want to grow. I want to teach. I want to train. I want to do this. I don't care if you pay me less money. I just want to do it. So when they gave me an offer, I almost fall off my chair. I'm like, wow, okay, now what? And I'm so scared. Really, guys, even like my first day at work, I was shaking. That's how nervous I was working for Kindle at the time. But, everyone have a fear of insecurity because you care, because you want to do well, right? And that's a very good thing to have. If you don't feel afraid, then what's there to learn? I mean, that's the way I see it.
It's amazing what you just said. Yeah.
That's
I don't
interesting.
have
I
my
If you
agree
notes
don't
on
like
that.
that, by the
identify
way. I
or
was
have
really
gaps,
nervous.
you'll never improve, right?
Yeah, means I share this story every time, Holly. Like when I joined Amazon first day and I was talking to people in my team, I felt like I'm the dumbest person on the table at that
Yep.
moment. So
Yep.
I had that fear for a long time. Then I realized that okay, maybe not the same thing. I'm not the dumbest, but maybe it is the same thing everyone is thinking on the table because everyone comes from so different background, so
Mhm.
much different experience. So yeah, it's a humbling experience, and there is too much to learn from each of us. So that's a good thing. Yeah, I agree on that.
Prasad, you remind me just by you asking that questions about college related and having self doubt and all that. If I may take like 2 minutes to share this story because this is my best hire
Oh,
for Amazon. Are you guys ready for this?
Yes, of course. Go
yes.
ahead.
I want to look at your face and see if you think I'm crazy. That person is still at Amazon. She's a level 6 now, by the way. When I hired
Wow.
her, she was a contractor. This is 8 years ago, 9 years ago. She was a pizza delivery driver.
Wow.
Yep. Pizza delivery driver who came to me for a referral, and I was the only recruiting manager at the time who would interviewed her. But when I asked her, about customer service, right? Because I need someone to know how to coordinate, because this person have zero experience working with stakeholders, don't even know the definition of stakeholders, right? Hiring managers. How are you going to schedule a recruiting event for me? This person put me in my place. That's why she was hired. She was so ballsy. She said, Holly, I know I don't have any experience. Let me tell you about my schooling for full time, delivering pizza and 2 other jobs. That's how badly I want this job. Let me tell you about a time where a customer have called. This is all pizza delivery experience, by the way. And I'm like, did this person just push back, having backbone, and tell me and make me feel like I'm judging her? So I felt guilty. I'm like, wow, did you do all? And I said, same thing, guy. Pizza delivery person for a very junior level, recruiting coordinator. Coordinator means scheduling interview for me. All she had to do was scheduling with no experience. I said, tell me, what was the biggest problem you have ever solved in your career? Ever solved in customer service? She said, Holly, I don't have much experience, but can I tell you about a time where I changed the engine of my car? I'm like, what? Okay, I want to hear this. I want to see if she's BSing me, right? I'm like, sure, I want to hear it. And my mind was blown. I'm like, oh my God, this girl's so smart. So right off the bat, I was like, okay, inclined to hire. Here's why I was so motivated and I'm so hyped up to have her on my team. So here comes a debrief. My boss was a director. Okay. My boss was at Amazon for already at the time 20 years. And I have to convince him and the bar raiser to give this person to me. And guess what? From the moment that person started, all the recruiting manager fought for her. And I lost her almost right away because she was so smart. So 8 years later, she's a level 6 PM in recruiting for Amazon.
That's
Super.
No college
awesome.
degree, by the way. Pizza delivery.
Amazing. Yeah, yeah. Means sometimes it's like so much potential is there, and you need a direction, and that's why people like you, Holly, are helping people
Yeah.
in getting that direction and breaking through that barrier. So it's a really humbling experience.
It is. I mean,
I
just
think it's
because you
good
don't have
luck
tech
also.
experience.
I think having people
Yeah.
like
I
Holly
mean,
hire you.
I have a lot of offer from Amazon, by the way. A lot.
I'm sure. I'm sure.
I mean, I just don't want people to feel so intimidated, because right now a lot of, and I coach them, right? I said, if you're a project manager, program manager, product manager, what are you waiting on? Get the AWS certification or practitioner, because that let the employer know that you are interested in tech. Even you're applying to like Google Cloud and all that. I get this a lot, by the way. They said, Holly, if I have a choice between Google Cloud, Microsoft certification, and AWS, which one? Like AWS, because it's so, and I'm not saying it to be biased. Again, Amazon's not paying me for this at all. I'm saying this because that's what the market is calling for. It's a brand, guys, right? If you're going to put a brand or certification, stick to your name. You want a brand that you can get a job anywhere else. If you have Microsoft certification and you go and apply to Amazon or Google or Meta, it's not the same environment. It's not really the same. If you have like Google Analytics, I'm getting that a lot from a lot of the job seekers. That's great. But when you go into like an Amazon or like an Apple or other employer, does it transfer the certification or experiences that you have? But if you have the AWS certification, I heard that there are a lot of them that are free. So the question is like, it's kind of like, what are you waiting on? Right? I mean, if you see them with a whole pile of AWS certification, I'm like, yes, that person I want to interview. You don't even need the tech experience. Just do it. It's free. It doesn't make
Exactly. Yeah.
cost anything but their time.
We
Yeah,
just
just
had
grab the
talked with
opportunity.
Sammy. Yeah.
Yep.
So we talked with Sammy, and he has 70 plus certification. So yeah. So obviously
I
means.
know, 70, that's crazy. I need to rewatch his
Yeah,
talk.
yeah. Nice. Now, I want to pick a question from audience here, Holly, and it's a very generic question, but yeah, it is very important also. Like companies say age, nationality, etc. doesn't matter. Let me bring it up again. Sorry, but do they actually practice it?
Well, Raja 668, that's why I teach unconscious bias, my friend. In all the company I've ever worked for, you know why company has unconscious bias? Because sometimes, not that they purposely look at how old you are or where you're coming from. I teach people back in like an hour ago, I talk about resume and branding a lot. I actually teach people to remove the year they graduate from school, because I can figure out how old you are, right? Most people graduate, what, 25, 28 years old? You do the math, right? They will know right away. that's age. That's just, I don't want to say age discrimination, but sometimes it's just the feeling that you put on the table and you're not even aware that you're doing it. Nationality is another thing. Uh, I'm trying to hold back. I'm trying to hold back and not be me for a second. If you have a name from, I'm Vietnamese, I'm Vietnamese Chinese, right? If I tell you my Vietnamese Chinese, you'd be like, huh? What? That's Holly's name, right? I don't even use it. It's Holly Lee, by the way. From the moment I turn to Holly Lee, I get job offers. But if I have my Vietnamese name, um, I think that sometimes when recruiters or employers have a difficulty time pronouncing your name, it almost make them feel bad and they wanted to pause for a second and look at other candidates. Not that they're doing it intentionally, they just don't want to embarrass themselves. Okay, that's what I mean by unconscious bias. Um, I can tell you this age discrimination. I can, if I'm focusing on like Amazon as a company, it doesn't exist because Amazon, if anything, a lot of the people, I think early on we talk about how smart the company is. I feel like I'm the dumbest person when I work on Amazon. I did. Not anymore after years and years and years and years, but in the beginning, yes, because they hire people based on skills, not your age, not what year you came out of school or anything like that. But I wanted to confidently say there are companies out there, no names, that look for what is called the culture fit, right? Meaning that if you're looking at a young group or young companies, or maybe a company has been around for 50 years, but they're building something new, and everyone there is in their 20s and 30s, and you are in your 50s and 60s. Not that they don't want to hire you, they just know that you are probably going to be uncomfortable when they hire you. You see where I'm going? It's not that the employers are intentionally being disrespectful. They're thinking about you, not thinking that you want the job, but are you actually going to be the right fit? So culturally is it's a principle in every single interview, right? Even if you fit the position, you don't get the job, but culturally, are you actually a match? I don't think nationality, to be honest, has to do with it. But as a hiring manager myself, I don't want to just hire one type. Like Amazon, for example, I have everything. Like literally, seriously, you guys should look at my Facebook photos. My O team. I have Mexican, Indian, China. I have like all over the world. That was my team because I want to be as diverse as possible. Sometimes you don't get that fortunate, right? Sometimes you get candidate that comes to you and they're good, they meet the bar. You have to hire them because you got things to take care of, projects to execute. So I hope that answers your questions. It shouldn't matter, but the bottom line is it's good for you to do your homework. If you're interviewing for that team of hiring managers, look at that person and ask the right questions. What is the making of your team? Right? How does the leveling balance? That's wink, wink, hint, hint. Are they all senior level? Then you can kind of figure out how old they are, right? Are they all junior level, right? Why is this position open? So ask the right question. Yes, thanks. You're welcome.
It's interesting. Yeah. So yeah, these are questions like only an insider can give you on, right?
Yes.
For us, like I'm a technical background person, so I'm focused more on technical things. Hey, I have all technical skills, but it's not always technical. There is a lot of things associated with it. So yeah, it completely makes sense. And I am getting like light bulb moment when I'm talking to you. Yeah, this is what is happening behind the scene. So thank you
Yeah,
for that.
yeah. A lot of the time, as hiring manager, you don't think about all that stuff, but when you're being reminded, like you mentioned, the light bulb just kind of hit, and things are just moving so fast. You make decision as you go.
Makes sense.
So
Now,
I have a
would
Now,
question.
go ahead,
Yeah,
Parna.
go.
See, this is what happens when we have Holly at this stage,
Everybody is
isn't it? Everyone
jumping
wants to
I
talk.
don't think I've ever had this much fire before. I want to do this again. Okay, again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So actually, somebody in the chat asked this so related to that. So they've asked. There's a question. Please tell me about a time when you had to make a difficult decision in your career path. So if we talk about something negative, is that okay? I mean, where probably we took a decision which backfired, or it was
Mhm.
not really a positive kind of a decision that we took. Uh, I mean, how does it reflect on the candidate?
Well, the one thing I would say is that questions, and also another famous question is your career failure or mistakes. It's absolutely okay, and you probably should talk about your challenges because interviewer love to hear that. They don't always want to hear everything is glowing, right? Even if
Yeah.
it is, they're going to ask you what are some of the obstacles. But remember this though, it doesn't matter what challenges you have. They're more interested in what you have learned to overcome it. Okay. So don't give an
Right.
example at the end, I failed. Like, well, obviously you didn't learn anything about it, right? So how did you overcome those challenges, the difficult decisions?
Right. Great.
I would add
Nice.
that at the very end. Don't tell me you don't have it because all of you guys tell me you don't have it and you do have it. Just think a little bit
Yeah.
harder. I mean,
How
sometimes
did
you
you
have
come
the
out of it?
yeah, they have the result, but they don't think that's a result. I'm like, no, that is a really good ROI. Talk about the ROI and added value. But Holly, I'm not really sure. I'm like, yes, did you save them time? Did you bring up their efficiency? Maybe they were under, they're losing bandwidth, and you're able to bring them up from 20% to 80%. That's a big deal. Talk about that. Did you have them save money? From what to what? From what is under to how much, right? So really think big about that. Everyone has ROI. They just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Rescue
Thank you so
yourself,
much.
guys. You can still get the job.
Go ahead,
One
Prasad, with your
question,
question. Yeah.
yeah, that I have is that like before pandemic, it was all used to be in-person interviews. During pandemic, it is like virtual interviews, and now you have a kind of sometimes you have an option. So if you to choose, if interviews need to choose between going in person or interview, which one should a person choose?
Well, you're talking to the wrong person. For me, I like in-person interview because I want to see the the interviewer's body language. I just love connecting with people. I mean, as you can see, but a lot of people are shy and reserved, and no one likes interview. I love interviewing, by the way, all day long. But I'm pretty sure no one likes that, right? Because bias. I'm very biased. I love this is what I do and breathe on. Um, it's just a virtual interview is very awkward. I'm staring at the little light right now at the camera. You see me looking down because you guys are down here and the cameras are up here, right? And sometimes when you do that, the interviewer may think that you're cheating, right? You're doing this or you're doing that. I don't know if you guys noticed, but in video, if you move your eye even like very fast like this, it looks like I'm rolling my eyes. So there's just a lot of biases as well. I would highly encourage if you guys can do it in person. And I don't want the interviewer to be distracted. I don't know if you're paying 10 other people, if you're taking notes on what I'm saying. That's just my 2 cents.
Yeah, cool.
More
Okay. Okay.
Thanks.
personable.
Now, I want to like address one different type of question. Let's say I got offer from four companies. I accepted one. I obviously going to deny three of them. So how I should not burn the bridges because it's a small world, isn't it, Holly? Like
Yeah.
maybe I would run into you again, and I don't want to create that kind of impression that hey, this guy backs out every time I hire him.
Well, now you're getting me in trouble. You guys are getting me into trouble. Um, well, okay. It's I'm trying to think about the employer's perspective and not be mean about it. I actually encourage people to interview with company that they never heard of. There's two reasons, right? Bear with me for a second, guys. I promise I will get to the point. I'm trying to watch what I'm saying here for a second. God, you guys are getting me in trouble. I tell people and I coach people before you land or interviewed with your fame, your dream job. Why do you do that? Why don't you interview with companies where if you don't get the job, it hurts you, but it doesn't hurt you as much and through the experiences. But there is a 50% chance possibility that you may fall in love with, let's just say, a startup, a mid-sized company you never heard of, because the hiring manager very much intrigue you. The salary they're giving you is probably more than like Amazon. I'm just totally making this up, by the way. And it happens. There's a lot of my members who end up going to startup and reject like a meta offer, right? Um, but politely, if you were to decline a job, you have to make them feel that you're putting a lot of thought into each and every personalized person, right? I would think for you specifically, Asish, I would thank each and every interviewer to let them know that, hey, I did pay attention. This is not just a game for me, but thank you so much for spending the time with me. I love your product. Talk about the product that you interview for. Basically, you're giving your time back to not make them feel like you just wasted everybody else's time to maintain that. But if you're going to re-interview again and decline the offer twice and three times, that's where you're upsetting me. Do not do that. Okay. Do not burn that bridge. One time, yes, you're forgiven. Two times, okay, now I'm getting a little cold with you. Why do you keep on declining me for AWS, right? Are you using me for AWS? Probably yes. But you guys see where I'm going. And the person, the interviewer, most likely is going to go to AWS. It's a cycle in recruiting, right? Not in recruiting, sorry, in the workforce. Even a lot of people who left Amazon, they go to a startup. So that's what I was talking earlier on about the FANG process. It should all be the same. It doesn't matter what company, because you got the bar racer going to the startup, and guess what that program is called? Similar to the bar racer program. True story. I've done that too.
I get your point. It's interesting. I agree on that. It's a small world. Like you run into recruiters again, and then hey, not this guy, not
I
this
know
guy.
you now. I'm watching you. I'm watching where you're going now. I'm like, oh, look at him. He left AWS for startup. Let me see here.
Nice. So thank you so much. It's just so enlightening. And now I want to like address the elephant in the room in the sense that what are the common mistakes made by unsuccessful candidates? Yeah, we know who succeeded, that's fine, but what is the common big no when you say, hey, this doesn't fit like a next move, or we should not go forward?
um, Common mistakes by candidate. I think the most common one is jumping. Like for me personally, and like the feedback, because recruiters do talk about everything, by the way, with hiring managers too. That's what the debrief process is, right? Um, the number one common thing is the candidates never share how they have delivered results. They don't. That's a number one thing. I'm gonna push this back to like a new graduate and also a leadership candidate and principal level. Same thing, right? Because they're so gung ho. Yes, I built this, I built this, I've done this, but no one really talk about how they've done it. That's like the number one most common thing. All companies, they do that. I know for those of you who's watching, you're doing this. I can see you guys doing this. That's true.
Yeah.
Nah, any more questions, anyone?
I just wanted to ask, talking about flexibility, work from home, is that okay to talk at the beginning stages of your interview, or you need to complete it and then you can start asking for other stuff? What do you
I
think
think
about that?
in this case, I will be on the employer side, right? To not waste their time. If your intent is you don't have the ability to travel, but like I'm a single parent with a 5-year-old, there's no way I'm going to go to the office 5 days a week or at all. Number two, there's no way I can take business trip on a fly because I have a 5-year-old, right? I would be very intentional and honest with the employer upfront, because when they interview you, you want them to get excited. You don't want to burn the bridges. We talked about burning bridges earlier. You don't want the aha moment where everyone look at the table and you're going to make the recruiter look really bad, right? The hiring manager will look at the recruiter and say, why haven't you done your homework? Did you know that this person's not willing to relocate or travel? And this job require, oops, I changed my mind. They're traveling 30% now, right? I would be really upfront with that.
Thank you. That
Yeah.
really answers the question.
Mhm.
Cool. I think
One
we are.
more question. Like I'll sorry, Prasad, you want to go ahead?
No, no. I was just thinking we are over time, but yeah, yeah. Please go ahead, Ashish.
Yeah, so only this time, right? Like right now, very turbulent time, right? Amazon is not hiring, other companies are firing. So maybe I want to move forward, but what can I do in this turbulent time? Obviously, there is no job opening, but it doesn't mean that I can't make any effort. So what can I do in this particular time?
You should be networking and building relationship at this time. I mean, I know um, people think I'm crazy, and I say this on my YouTube channel every single week. And I said, if you're intent, and a lot of people want to work for Amazon, a lot of them still do, right? They'll accept an offer from a startup and wait. They do. They're literally waiting for Amazon to come back to live and then go into AWS specifically. And I said, this is a time where you wanted to look at the org that you're interested in. Is there a particular product or services, or what do you want to do with such a giant company, right? Because Amazon is like a mothership. There are thousands of different initiatives underneath. Then I would start reaching out to the people who are there. They may not be hiring manager. If I'm interested in training program for Amazon, they're not hiring, I'll reach out to all of the people here, right? So you need to connect with them so people know who you are. Don't wait until there's open position and then you're going in, because that's what everyone is doing. I talk a lot about, thinking really big and doing things that are different from everybody else. When I say the word networking, everyone freaks out and no one watch. My algorithm drops, by the way, guys. I have tutorial to like hold people's hand. I reviewed people's resume and LinkedIn for free, by the way, every single week. Sometime like 10 of them in a row. And people get freaked out when they hear branding, they just kind of shut down. But rather than building their portfolio, because if you don't feel good about yourself, when you network with somebody, they're not going to feel good about you. They're not. So now that it comes time to interview and there's Rex opening at Amazon, you're not ready because number one, your confidence is slowly going down, right? Because you have a lack of brand and people don't really think beyond that. So when I say LinkedIn and resume, they're so nervous and they just kind of shut down. True story. I'm just a girl, a coach who's trying to help people, but I think that they're letting the anxiety and the huge noise level of layoff taking the best out of them instead of just doing something about it. Yes, I'm calling all of you out. Not you guys, but the one who's watching.
Interesting. Yeah, that's a good one. Any so we are respectful of time of everyone. So anyone in audience, if you have any questions for Holly, maybe we will take one more last question from audience, and then I have my last question. So I know I asked a lot, but yeah, that is me as a trainer. So bear with me.
Now, if I may say Bessa, is that how you pronounce it, Bessa?
Yeah, Bessa.
I'm really impressed. I have a lot of people who reach out to me to do from talks like this to conferences and all that, and I would say no to everything. Um, but when you reach out at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, I don't know why I said yes to that. I'm just kidding. But I think it's really awesome to get together as a group, and I don't know if the audience realize how much effort is being put into it.
It
Even
is.
looking at the display of our streaming program, everything is very time it's very time consuming, and then you have to edit the video and the content and all that. So it's a lot of work to provide free content for those that are out there for the community. I just hope that they realize the amount of work that you guys are putting in for them.
Yeah, we hope so. And yeah, we have a lot of success stories. So like Parna, she is one of our success stories. Obviously, it's not like we are saying that we want to take all the credit, but yeah, maybe even we were able to contribute maybe 1%. That makes our life easier. That
Mhm.
makes us happy, to be honest. Okay,
Sometimes it's
so
about doing something fun that you love.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the passion to mentor others
Yeah.
is something that probably glues us together. So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, so we've got like a bunch of followers. I think, like I have been attending Besa right from session one, season one, a year ago. I probably just missed one or two of them, but
Yeah.
yeah, because that's how engaging it is. And the core team, Prasad, Ashish, Jamila, Alex, James, they put forth such wonderful content that people keep coming back for more. And I
Mhm.
think by getting you here and getting Sammy here, that's going to like double up now. Thank you so much. It's like the
Exactly.
graveyard shift for you right now.
Of
But
course.
you're still here
Um,
with us.
Ronnie Vert says, "How do you do a 1 minute answer?" Should we answer that for
Yeah.
him?
Yes.
I guess it's
So
looking at me then.
yeah, let me check. Is it a
Let me put
question?
it.
Yeah,
Yep.
It's
yeah.
very
I
easy. Very, very easy, Ronnie. Think about the star method, but don't be complicated. Think about one, what are you trying to talk about? One sentence. I talk about 1 minute, it's 10 sentences. I don't even go that long. Two, your task. What are you solving for? Simply just say, I'm solving for what? Just fill it in, right? Three, your action. Here's what I've done to dive deep to figure out the root cause of this. And because of that, I was able to build a solution by doing what? Two sentences. That's it. Lastly, because of my effort, it's resulting in what was your contribution? What was the ROI for a very clear client? Who is your client? It's very, very simple. By the way, if you're interested, I have 8 different templates on my YouTube channel for free. Just download it. There's no catch. There's actually a whole template with all of my experiences on Amazon. one minute or less, including the most recent 15 and 16's leadership principle. Be
Yeah, so
basic.
we'll put Holly's YouTube link and her website into the resources section. So leverage it, and you could just search for her on LinkedIn, and you would find tons of material and lots of praise for her. So thank you for that.
Of course.
And I want to conclude with one last question, Holly, here. Like, what is your top three tips for anyone who wants to get recruited to these companies or anywhere be successful? Let's not generalize it for only AWS or anything, but what are like career tips you could give? Three tips.
The first tip is branding. You need to know your brand because when you know your brand, it's amazing. The person who's interviewing you, the person who's about to contact you for an interview will know your brand. If you don't have any clue what I'm talking about, it's all over LinkedIn, by the way. It's brand. Even if you click on any of the folks here, if you look at their brand, you can feel. I did, by the way, I did research on all of you guys. You can feel what they have done. Okay. It's your branding. You have to fix that before you think about doing anything else. Number two, once you have your brand, you need to learn how to network your social skills. I'm talking about technical professional here. Technical folks like to put their heads down and code all day or, build things. They don't want to be social. I get it. I get it. But when you do that, no one knows you. If no one knows you, no one's going to contact you, right? You need to expand your network. If you have less than 500 connection on LinkedIn, that's a problem because they can see that. Recruiters are attracted when you have a network, at least bare minimum 500 people, not people that you know, but people are in your industry. And I want you to start following them because when you follow people, we talked about this earlier, they will acknowledge your name that kept on popping
Exactly.
up. Don't stalk them. Follow them respectfully and they will respect you and they will know you. So when you land a job offer somewhere else, you want them to be your cheerleader. Yes, people do that on LinkedIn. Okay. Even right now with the layoff season, everybody and their mom and dad are on LinkedIn. And three, as you have your brand and you network, this is the best time for you to be interview ready. I know I sound very crazy right now. A lot of people do this to me, guys. Holly, you're crazy. I don't even have an interview. Why should I prep for my interview? Well, you're networking, right? Well, what if Prasad here wants to jump on a call with you? Are you ready to talk to him? Then you're not interview ready. It's so simple. When people ask me questions like that, but Holly, I don't understand. Why do I have to fix my resume? I don't have a problem landing interview. Great. Did you pass the interview? No. Well, then something's wrong with your resume. I'm going to assume is your ROI and your bullet that's not there. Right. So everything is like falling back to stage number one. Fix your branding.
Makes sense. That's so good. So these are like golden tips, I would say. So hopefully people would get benefited from it, and obviously live audiences here who are hearing, and then will be more people getting benefited from it on YouTube. So thank you so much, Holly. It was interesting, and probably we would like to have you back. I have so many questions, but I'm
I
respectful
can
of
see
time of
that.
everyone, and yeah. So so probably we will reach out, and I hope you would have more LinkedIn followers now. And these were like golden tips, I would say. As a technical professional, we are sometimes so busy not
Mhm.
polishing these areas. So that's where Holly can help us. So thank you so much. And
It's a pleasure.
thank
I
you
get
for
tired of talking to myself on my YouTube channel. It's good to be around other people working for me at my own office by myself. So this is a nice change.
exactly.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
was
we
wonderful
enjoyed,
talking to you.
even if
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
was like we are way beyond what we were timed for, but it feels like, hey, why we have to end it? So we discussed it 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, 5 more minutes, and then we are here. So yeah, it's good to have you. Thank you so much,
Of
Holly.
course, it's a pleasure.
Yeah,
Anytime.
thank you so much. Yeah, I learned a lot. Quite frankly,
Yeah,
listen, I was
definitely.
listening for some time, and then I need to jump on and ask more questions. I was not able to resist myself, frankly. But thank you so much. This was really engaging, and yeah, I like the way you candidly, tell them where they are wrong. Like you should be doing this, and you're not doing this right. Even if you're from MIT or anywhere else, it doesn't matter. You should be doing this for going forward. So thank you so much for sharing all those tips. As
Mhm.
Ashish mentioned, we'll keep reaching out to you for like a further like interactions.
Of
Thank you
course, it's
so
a
much.
pleasure. I love doing things like this.
Take care,
Cool.
everyone. Have a good day, and Holly, have a good
Have
weekend.
a good morning,
Probably,
everyone, and good
yeah.
night.
Thank you. Take
Good
care.
night.
Bye.
Thank you.
Take
Cheers.
care.
Bye.
Bye.